I turned it on by accident. Nothing I can do.
See you guys over in the other bed. Appreciate all the help on the table already. There, go Kings. That's all you get to eat, man. Send a text to your wife and say, hey.
Hey, we're live, Sam. We're live, everybody. I pushed the wrong button at the wrong time, but whatever, right? Well, that's almost time.
No, Mike's right here.
We're gonna get mics going here. That camera looks crooked, doesn't it? I like the beginning. It's so unprofessional tonight, just like me. All right, we got a lot to talk about, man. Fish are biting.
You didn't bring your sign?
No, I forgot it again. How's dinner?
Awful. That doesn't look crooked.
I know. Not much I can do about it. Okay, I think we're good.
What's something on the legs?
Huh?
Are the legs open right or what's that?
Yeah, I think the legs, I think this is.
Oh, monkey.
Yeah.
Can I tighten it?
Yeah, I'm sure you can. How do you do it? Did you do it?
Mm-hmm.
You fixed it?
Yeah.
Really? No, you didn't.
Yes.
Oh. Oh.
Just turn this thing.
Oh, you're the
Where's the other
man. Screwing it all up. All right. Hey, everybody. As you can see, I hit the live button a little too early tonight. So, about 2 minutes out, I've got a mic Sam up. This is always dangerous because I get slapped sometimes when I put the mic on him. Depends on. No, I forgot the computer. Do you have your phone? Yeah. Yeah, good. All right. I know. We're all sad here.
What?
Oh, that's right. Got it. Having a rough start here.
You are.
All right.
Did they make the weedless with the underspin?
Yeah, we had a couple in there. Sponsored by Del Taco.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, hell yeah. Perfect.
Yeah, right there.
These, those.
We got them all. Sponsored by Fiesta Pack. I have one crunchy one too. What the hell?
Yeah, help yourself.
Thank you.
Hit the live button a little too early. So, hey, can you put that up there, Steve? You're not. Oh, you don't know. That's Pat's here.
There's a guy that plays seagulls on
Whose
that
is
thing all the
this?
time.
You?
That's my phone, yeah.
Okay. Hey, it's 5:58. 2 minutes till showtime, and then we're just going to transition into.
The show.
Yeah.
Interrupting my dinner time. It's a real commercial.
Yeah.
Sam, this will be twice if Phil's got my backside walking away.
Heard about that.
Can you turn that sound down? There we go. People are laughing. Good afternoon. Hello, fellas.
Got it right
All
there.
kinds of guys are on here. Sam, Phil, what's up? Good evening, guys. What's up, guys? Enjoy your food. Joel Lopez. SoCal Drool. Drool. True. Hey, I don't know why this is such a rough start, but hey, you guys, it's almost 6 o'clock. When you hit the live button a little too early, you know, what can I tell you? But we have got a big show because we got a lot to talk about. Incredible white sea bass fishing, bluefin tuna. We're talking halibut. There is so much starting to happen, of course, last night. Sam, do you know I made my albacore prediction like yesterday?
You finally gave up on it?
No. I'll tell you. Did you watch it?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, he
I mean,
watched
I'm
it.
sorry,
I knew he would.
Everybody else finally gave up. You had one more guy that was willing to hang on with you.
Who?
And I don't know. Well, he's gone now. He gave up on it.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Lopreste kind of said, like, did you hear what I quoted him as saying?
I was about, yeah, what do you say?
Well, Frank said he does believe they're coming back sometime.
Me too.
Yeah, right. Like but he said it's such a strange year this year. He's not putting money on it. If it warms up in June, we're screwed. If it doesn't, I think he thinks there's a good possibility for it.
I think so.
But he said he wouldn't bet any money at all on that happening. Take care.
Take care, guys.
All right, you too. All right, Sam, 6 o'clock. Welcome, everybody, to the Friedman Adventures live show here at Island Fishing Tackle. Some of you are wondering why I pushed the live button so early. I don't know, ineptitude, I would chalk it up to. Some of you are wondering why we're at Island Fishing Tackle tonight. And you're going to have to ask Sam that because he wants to be a good family man. That's why. I think he's got a couple of baseball games tomorrow, right?
Practice.
So I said, well, let's do it tonight, man. We can do this tonight. Have a good time. And already we're getting 50 people watching us on a night when we didn't even plan to have a show here, man. Give me 5.
Impromptu.
And who do we have to thank for the food tonight?
Who is that?
Who do you think?
Couldn't have been him. He's on a trip.
He's got a phone.
Man, he did it. He did it again.
He did it again.
Best guest.
Our
Number
best
one.
guest.
Number one.
The best guy.
Viewer.
Scott Buchert.
How did he do it? He caught tuna and he sent us food?
Yeah, no, he hasn't left the docks yet.
Ah, I thought he was already on.
Oh, he's out. This is his pre-birthday trip. His birthday is May the 2nd.
Okay.
And so I sent him out on
That's
the
right. That's right. You were talking about
sent him out on the Pegasus. If anybody is around Fisherman's Landing, run down to the Pegasus and wish Scott a happy birthday. Or if anybody happens to be on the Pegasus and you're listening right now, send us a message and let us know. Get everybody on board to sing happy birthday. Shoot a video of it and send it to me. It would warm my heart because Scott is truly, Scott's a great guy, right?
Scott's an awesome guy.
Yeah.
My favorite viewer.
So, Scott, thank you again. We really appreciate you sending food our way. Anybody else who wants to send filet mignon or a prime rib over tonight, Steve over here says he's all for it. So, it's great to be with you all. We have a lot to talk about. As I said, there was tremendous white sea bass fishing going on here at our local islands. I won't say where. Many of you already know, but I'm not going to be the one who spills the beans. I'll let Steve do that. And there was just great fishing. Chuck Zimmer from the Redondo Beach Rod and Gun Club was on board the Pride. They had limits of white sea bass. Chuck said the biggest fish was probably 45 pounds. Dang. Gorgeous fish. And there was a little bit of a lull in the bite. You know, they caught some sea bass, and it looked like conditions were not right. So they go, let's go, make a drift for halibut. 25 halibut.
25?
25 halibut.
Ooh-wee.
Then they go back in and get a wide open bite on the sea bass and limit out on white sea bass. Chuck said, and I think this is something we probably should show the people tonight. Chuck said that he was fishing, and Sean Roberts, the captain, walked by and said, what kind of lead head are you using? And he's, lead head, and he goes, well, let me see it. And he goes, oh, that's the problem. Cuts it off, and he puts on an orange lead head. And he said, orange and pink. And he said,
I don't know what.
He took it, pinned a bait on, dropped it down, and went. And he looked around, and everybody on board was using those colors getting bit. The guys that were getting bit were using those colors.
That orange color. I don't know what it is about it. I mean, I buy it because people buy it. I mean, they want it. They asked me for it. But, I mean, on repeated occasions in the last 3 or 4 years, the options, I think Sean Roberts sent some guys here at one point, another 6-pack boat. And, these guys are all sea bass trips. And they'll send down one of their crew members and say, buy all that they got. And then, well, they got like 30
you said that last show we had,
so they got 30 of them. It's like, buy them all. We need them. I'm like, okay. So if those guys are buying them, I'm sure it's for.
I mean, he said that's what was working. Where are you going, Steve?
I'm gonna go watch this on home in comfort.
All right, man. Good to see you. Thanks for everything.
Thanks, man.
The AC's still on.
I grabbed it earlier.
Got it?
Yeah. Well, I think I did. I'll get it later.
All right.
All right. So that seems to be working well. You want me to go through a few comments because people are saying hello, and I like to recognize them. I'll catch up. The Terps. Yeah, the Terps. Good afternoon, Phil. Good afternoon, my friend. Chewy and SoCal. Hello, fellas. Join Troller 89. Sam, Phil, what's up? Albert Ponce, dear friend of ours. Good evening, guys. Joel Lopez. What's up, guys? Enjoy that food from Scott Buchert. SoCal Drew, good evening, Phil and Sam. Chewy in SoCal. Taco Tuesday. Yeah, it is tonight.
Tonight.
Yeah, Bucher, you're all right. Current Jam. Oh, great idea. I'm going to get some tacos. Michael Fierro Jr., good afternoon. Tony Anthony, voice actor. Hi, Phil. So what's the hot ticket for this grade of bluefin tuna? You want to answer that?
Well, I think that it's
And
kind
the grade, I guess he's talking about what's going on now. And
Yeah,
kind
I
of,
mean-
it's, I mean, it, you know.
still mixed for sure.
Yeah.
But it's starting to kind of trend towards larger fish. You know, kind of more of what we were catching, you know, through the meat of last year.
Yep.
You know, that 60 to 120, 130 pound
That's
fish.
about right.
It's starting to kind of take over a lot of areas, not only San Diego, but I know the guys down in Baja were starting to get the big ones too. Everyone's kind of started off with the little ones, and that big fish kind of just came out of nowhere and just
Yeah.
been taken over.
Right. So proper gear for that, he's asking?
I mean, you know, even was David Cho was in here this morning and was talking about the trip that they did on the Nilo Wan, and he's a very experienced fisherman, and he says everybody was using 50, 60 pound test. They got like 100 and 120 pounder. He says, "Oh, I'll start fishing." So he dropped down his 50 pound, and with the sinker rig on bait, he says he got smoked, spooled. So that was way bigger than 120 pounds. So
Yeah.
there's some bigger fish to be had. I would say make sure you want to have everything from 25 pound for the daytime. We're kind of going back to that. You got to take everything.
Yeah.
But 25 pound for the daytime, 25, 30 pound test, maybe a 40 or 50 pound rig for if some bigger fish start biting the fly line. Your 50 or 60 pound for those bait rigs, sinker rigs. But right up onto 80 pound, 100 pound, and then 130 even for, you know, that nighttime jig fishing. It seems like when the fish wanted to go, those guys were getting them full speed. So there's no reason to be finessing or trying to use something real light to get a bite at night. They're biting heavy line.
Yeah, right. All right. Tony Anthony, great question. Fisherman's Access, Sam. Green or red sauce?
Green, preferably, but I think we had all red today.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
did.
yeah.
Yeah, they don't have any.
I don't think they have any green sauce
Tomatillo.
yet.
Kind of-
No.
I love that sauce,
Yeah, yeah.
don't you? Yeah, I'm green too. I'm with you. Behind the scenes for 2 minutes. People got a behind the scenes look at how screwed up I truly am. You know, oops, I pushed the wrong button. You know, acting like our president almost. Joe says, hello, guys. Current Jam, your correlations are spot on. Lake levels. Did you hear my Tulare Lake?
I haven't heard it.
Brilliant,
but I've
thesis?
I've seen all that stuff, but should we go over it now?
Yeah, I mean, I can't remember the exact years, but the last 3 times
Yeah.
that the lake reemerged because of heavy rains, there was good albacore fishing. I may have screwed up 83. I think 83, and it was actually, Danny Cadota pointed out, it was an El Nino. 84 was the big albacore year.
But
The
they
big
did-
albacore year.
And that lake did the same thing?
Yeah,
Really?
Yeah.
This much?
yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah.
That's amazing.
It's and if you listen to old time albacore guys, they say, "Man, when it rains a lot, you know," and you got to take that with a grain of salt.
Right,
but
right.
most of the time, those guys know exactly what they're talking about.
Yeah.
They've seen all that rain. Tommy Holland's a guy that says, "You see all that rain, and we're gonna have an albacore year." Then I looked at that Tulare Lake, and I go, "I wonder how this has occurred."
Yeah.
And it went back to 1960 something. Same thing.
Yeah.
No, so here's the catch. Here's where I could get screwed in this whole thing. It either happens the year the lake reemerges or the subsequent year. So
He's still going out.
no, I don't have an out. I quit after this. I'm done. I mean,
So next year is going to be, I told you so.
yeah, but you know, I mean, it still gets complicated because
Yeah,
look, I mean, so they're calling for this El Nino down there in the
Like a
Echo.
strong El Nino, like
Yeah, so
potentially.
if that shows up, there's not going to be any
yeah.
albacore. So this would have to be. I mean, if that El Nino shows up, you'll probably last into next year, and there's no albacore then.
yeah, yeah.
This has got to be it. In fact, that little finger of cool water that I pointed out is pointed into the Baja coast, like Ensenada.
Right, right.
That actually cooled during the past week. It should be warming. It cooled because it's cloudy. There's no solar warming going on. So, I
Well,
mean, it's really
yeah,
looking.
but one of the things too is that a lot of that satellite data is sea surface temperatures, so it doesn't tell the whole story. You know, there's upwellings and things like that. So there may have been a cooling for some upwellings, but it may not tell the whole story. I've been watching all this stuff too. You know, as far as what's going on, and
Yeah.
El Nino stuff too. And so sometimes you really kind of have to look at it in a longer stretch of time.
Yeah, you do.
To see when all that deeper water and how that's moving, I guess, because I guess that moves the same as like the wind and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
That warm water will travel. So, but that's what they're talking about, all that stuff down there by Chile or down
Right.
there right now. That's super, like, I guess that water is like extra warm, where our water is extra cold. And they're saying that's going to be what happens, is that it's going to get like sucked up or something like that. And
Yeah.
they're expecting that El Nino to happen. But
Yeah.
man, that's crazy.
Yeah, I know. They're talking a little bit later in the year, though.
Right,
So we still have a shot at this thing, man. I'm telling you,
Yeah.
we're going to be catching albacore this year. the
Christmas
Lake
albacore.
Tulare, Phil Friedman theory,
Yeah.
or whatever it is. I'll go down in
book it.
history.
Yeah.
Yeah, as the guy that screwed up again. All right, let's see. Everybody give us a like, says Dansky. Thank you so much, Steve Bermudez. What's the best color of feather for trolling for albacore?
What was
See,
it?
he's thinking positive. Bermudez. I love it. I don't know, Mexican flag. You think Mexican flag is good?
Mexican flag's probably by far the most popular. I'd also say,
Just like blue and white you get bid on, red and white you used to get bid on.
yeah, Mean Joe Green. He
Yeah.
had a black and green color. I think that's one that I have a lot of confidence. There was one year that I was lucky enough. I was on an 8-day leaving in May on the Royal Star, trolling a Mean Joe Green, and I got an albacore, and it was the first one of the season for the whole fleet.
Really?
Yeah, first
You
one.
got it?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was a Mean Joe Green, and I think that was like the worst albacore last time we got an albacore. So
Oh, really?
I'm the one that shut it down. Yeah. But yeah, that was. I kind of came out of that on their report as the first albacore of the
That's
season.
hilarious,
Yeah.
man.
That was pretty cool. But yeah,
You
Mean Joe
know,
Green.
one other handicap we have now is nobody goes to Guadalupe Island, and a lot of
Right.
times that's where they used to
them.
find those albies.
Yep.
In fact, there was that theory that maybe they were spawning
Yeah.
near Guadalupe because you catch those 5-pounders like in June,
Yeah.
but nobody goes there anymore. So I got another out.
Yeah.
Oh, they were there,
why.
but nobody went out there. No, I'm not going to do that. Isaac says, "Good evening, guys. Good evening, Isaac. P&S Hirnag. Hello, Phil, Sam. What model Abbott reel would you suggest for like a 50 or 60-pound setup?" Excellent question, Sam.
I like the HX. I know a lot of guys will use an LX because it does hold enough line. The LX Raptor, probably the smallest Avid I would recommend because it does have a lot of drag. But I still would prefer the HX. The HX has a lower low gear ratio, giving it a little bit more torque in case you do hook that 150-pounder. So I'd go with the HX, but at the on the bottom, and start off with an LX.
All right, very good. And hey, if you don't mind, some of you guys who are asking questions, tell us where you're at. Sam and I always
that was pretty
we get
cool.
a kind of a kick out of
That was
that. We
pretty
had
cool.
we had people in all over the country last time
Yeah.
who were coming into us. All right, let's see. Sal Nunez. Sal says, "Good evening, Sam and Phil from Paris, California. When is the next trip?" We're going Wednesday night.
Wednesday night, you said, right?
Wednesday night on the Endeavor. Couple spots open. Anybody wants one? 657-227-6459. And then we're out for a 2-day trip on the Apollo, departing 22nd Street landing on May 31st. Why don't you go on that one?
May 31st.
You're too busy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, me too. I hear you. Fish Guy, hello, folks. Scott Buchert on the Pegasus tonight. Fit in the popular singer with her.
Oh,
Okay.
pretty good, Scott.
Hey, okay,
Awesome.
Scott, have fun. He's got a popular singer with him?
Yeah.
Okay, I wonder who it is. Sal Nunez, I'm happy you like the name for this segment of your channel. You are awesome. Sal Nunez must have come up with Tackle Store Confessions.
Yeah.
Tackle Shop Confessions.
Mark's here.
Sal, good job. Appreciate it. Scott is back now, and he's clarifying what he said.
Yeah, he's
on
here.
the Pegasus, we are leaving the harbor now. So Scott Buchert is leaving. We have a customer here. Who is it? Mark, come on in.
Oh, come on, I can't do
What is that?
that. Water is rough.
Oh, that's all right. Come in and show us what you got there real quick.
Sheephead.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Let's bring that goat up here. Let's see
You're
it.
gonna have to fight for this, though.
Yeah, Sam and I will arm wrestle over it. Why don't you guys come on and be on camera real quick?
We don't.
So this is Mark, and
Great contributor to the show.
yes, great contributor to the show. Mark, you're fantastic.
Thank you.
And he's brought us a lovely sheep's head that you, oh my God.
Sorry, it's not pizza.
That's all right, man.
It's pepperoni color.
Yeah, we caught this at the on the pursuit.
Caught this on the pursuit, everybody. Man, I'm telling you, thank you so much.
And a little Mackie.
Oh, perfect. Saba.
Little Cabby, there you go.
Beautiful.
Sorry to interrupt you guys.
You're
No,
good, man.
thank you. If you want to be part of our studio audience, you're welcome. Whatever you want to do.
We will next time.
All right, perfect.
Yeah.
Thanks, you guys.
All right, man. Thanks.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Bye.
That's very
All right.
kind of you.
Thanks, man.
What can I say, man? We keep getting gifts here. Scott Buchert sent us a bunch of tacos. Now we have some fish. Sam, that's going to be delicious, man.
Yes, that's cool right
Who's
there.
taking that? Me. Oh,
got it.
either way. All right, that's very nice. Mark, you are number one. That is so nice. He drove all the way over here to do that. You missed what Scott said. He clarified. He's on the Pegasus tonight, and they're leaving the harbor.
It's all you right there, man.
Man, that's beautiful.
one.
Yeah, it
It's
is.
heavy.
Do you have somewhere to ice it?
I got a freezer.
Oh, that's perfect. I'll tell you what, I'll take the red and the sheep's head. You go ahead and keep the mackerel. All right, back to our comments here. Ken W., Phil, weather for our charter with the great Tucker McCombs may get blown out, so bummed. Ken, keep your fingers crossed. I haven't even looked that far ahead. And the weather, for
big,
a
they
week
don't
out
put in the
is pretty tough to gauge. So we'll see. Hopefully not. And we'll reschedule if that happens. Joe Lopez, thoughts on the Seeker Ultra Pinhead 93H, black one, number 30 to 80. I'm hoping Sam heard that. Sam, did you hear that?
What was that?
We'll get Sam when he gets over here. All right, ready? Joe Lopez, thoughts on the Seeker Ultra Pinhead 93H, black one, number 30 to 80.
Olua pinhead.
Olua, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
What did I say?
Ultra.
Yeah.
So that's a cool rod. I mean, it's been around for a long time. I think that they cut that pinhead down in a certain way to where it tried to mimic what a lot of the long range boats were doing with those Aluas when they first started coming out. And yeah, it's a pretty common rod, nice heavier jig stick. I think they were rated 30 to 60 from my recollection. But I would consider it a great 40-pound kind of all around heavy jig stick. When we had really, really good yellowtail fishing, guys would go down to Cedros. That Alua was a super popular rod. And guys still that go down to those fly down trips and trips like that really, really like that rod. So it's a great rod.
All right, PNS says, I was on the Pacific Queen last week. 95% of the bluefin caught at night were all caught on a 16-ounce torpedo sinker with 2 assist hooks.
Yeah.
It's super effective, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it works.
I think, like I was saying earlier, I mean, these fish were on the bite,
Thanks for that.
Doesn't really seem to matter at times, and so, which begs the question is, why do I need to buy any jigs? Well, they don't always bite, a bare sinker, but there are times when they bite that good, and we're fortunate to have it kind of go from what we were kind of struggling to get a bite.
Yeah.
Maybe having about 25 guys catch, 32 fish or something like that, which still good. I mean, it's tuna, this time of year, and it's swung way over into like full speed, nice big fish. And when they're doing that, I mean, you could probably put down that Rockstar can and probably get a bite.
Probably,
Yeah,
right?
I'm pretty sure. So
I'm going to try that.
You could, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, at times that could be the case.
Yeah. All right. Very good. Joe Lopez, did they have any line to assist the assist hooks or just assist hook to the ring and no line going to top ring? Normally, how does that
Well,
go?
so that's one of the things that we had, I think, when we were showing it
Right.
last year, is how we had like that little safety line. That really has a lot to do more with, if you're not sure whether your sinker's through wired, and most sinkers these days are. From what I understand, talking to the guys who make the sinkers, is that it's actually cheaper and faster to do a through wire type setup rather than doing the 2 grommets how we used to have before.
Yeah.
I guess that single wire stays in the mold better, and it's more consistent, I guess, where it doesn't get crooked. So I think most everybody is going to have a through wire. And one of the ways to look at if you have really old sinkers, those kind of gold brass looking ones,
Yeah.
those were definitely not through wire. Those are just a little small grommet at the very end. But the ones that are silver colored, I'm pretty sure 99% of all those are going to be through wired.
Okay. So the
So-
silver are the ones you want.
Yeah.
Aaron Aguilera. Hey, Aaron, how are you, my friend? Hey, Sam and Phil, good evening. Good to see you, Aaron. Tony Anthony, voice actor. Thank you, Phil, and tight lines to all. Dave Clark, evening, Phil and Sam. Fish guy, I saw your theory, Phil. I'd like and agree with the by the wind sailor jellyfish part of it for a correlation even more than Tulare Lake. I've heard that, man. I've heard that those wind sailors, those by the wind sailors are called, that there was a guy that told me, don't put my name on it. I don't want anybody messing with me if the albacore don't show up, but we're going to catch albacore this year.
Yeah.
Tom Holland said he talked to a 96-year-old commercial albacore guy who's retired. And the guy said, whenever we saw those by the wind sailors,
Yep.
we knew we didn't have to go north that year. We were going to catch albacore out of San Diego.
Well, I mean, not to jump on the bandwagon, but when I started seeing those come through, I kind of felt like, you know what, was remembering that was something that I saw in the Western Outdoor News or something like that. Back in the day, we had good albacore. Another thing too that I was trying to remember where I heard it, so I didn't really want to kind of like start saying it. But one of the things that it just kind of sticks in the back of my head is that with this rain, like you're saying, when we had a lot of rain, when we'd have this runoff, that what that produced was more food for bait.
Absolutely. The nutrients.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so for us, we don't really have the big upwellings like they do down in Baja.
Right.
But we have that runoff. And that runoff was really conducive to having a lot more anchovy.
Absolutely.
And so when you had all that anchovy, then it kind of led to everything else happening.
Yeah.
Barracuda, sand bass, and then after that was the albacore. But so it seems like to me, like, things are kind of starting to get set. The table's starting to get set for that.
Yes.
We'll see if that actually does happen. I think we can start. We're pretty close to be able to make a good positive prediction.
I made one last night.
Another couple months, we could say for sure.
Yeah, we're going to be yelling hookup in a couple months. It's funny you studying up on anchovies because I read about anchovies. I have nothing else to do for about a half hour today. And that biomass of anchovies down in northern Baja and starts to move north in like May, June, which that's perfect, man. Right through the albacores, right where the albies would be. And you're so right about that runoff and how important that is for those nutrients to get in the water.
Yeah.
And create that feed for the anchovies and other species, zooplankton and all that. So
one of the times that I kind of feel like there's a slight opportunity where we might see the first chance at one of these albacore being caught, maybe like in conjunction with that tournament that's going on in Tonada.
yeah,
From what I hear, there's quite a few boats that are going out of San Diego that are going to be doing that tournament. And so those guys might bend a little bit outside and drag a feather. We'll see if the weather permits. I'm pretty sure we'll have some boats that are looking around on the outside there, the 10-10 and all that kind of stuff. And so maybe that'll be a weekend where they catch the first one.
that'd be good. When is that first week of that tournament?
That's also late May, isn't it?
I think so. May, yeah. That could be about the time when this all happens. All right, Joel Lopez, if you guys have a reel spooled up, you should show how to set your drag depending on species. For example, with last year Dorado, we had to fish lighter line and a light drag.
Yeah. You want to do that?
Sure. Why not? Joel Lopez, your wish is our command. Sam will do that. I'll do an advertisement, which is, don't forget, tomorrow morning, the morning briefing. Thousands of you are tuning in every morning, and I can't thank you enough for doing it. We give you a rundown on everything that's hot, what the hot jigs are, where the fish are biting, and we try to do it in about 10, 20, sometimes 30 minutes, depends upon how much fishing there is. So right now, of course, we've got that bluefin tuna bite down out of San Diego. There are several smaller spots of fish right now. And when I say small, I'm talking commercial spots. So for a sport boat to get on one of those small spots, they can get it done and catch limits, no problem at all on one of those spots. As Sam said earlier, this fish is starting to change in terms of size. We're seeing a lot of that 50 to 80 pound, and then right on up to 150 pounds. The new Loan had a great trip here recently. The Legend had a great trip. I don't want to leave anybody out. Intrepid had some great fishing. The Pegasus is on their way out. Scott Buchert's on board. He's reporting in to me at all hours of the night. Unfortunately, the Pegasus has Wi-Fi, so I'm not going to get a day without any phone calls from Scott. I'll still get 40, but I'm kidding. That's going to be good. Huh?
How long is that trip?
That's a day-and-a-half trip.
Nice. You're going to get them.
Yeah, and they're baited up and leaving at 6.
Yeah. They're gone.
So, they're gone, man. They're on their way. I'll get you back with some more fishing updates after Sam shows you how to set your drag.
All right. So, I mean, I'm pretty sure we still got to follow some principles as to, setting your drag for a percentage of your line size. So, when we're talking your line size, it's going to be whatever you have tied on at the end, whatever your top shot is So your fluorocarbon or your mono top shot. So if you had 40-pound test, you'd set it one way, 60-pound test another way like
Right.
that. So what he was mentioning here is how tight you set it. Now on a star drag, pretty easy. We all know you tighten the star, and the drag gets tighter here. So that's pretty easy. As far as on the trip, sometimes, honestly, you know, probably the first thing I would do is if you didn't know or didn't feel comfortable setting it yourself, is talk to a crew member.
Right.
Those
Always.
Guys, those guys are on the water all the time. I personally like fishing a little heavier drag, so almost to the point to where you almost can't pull the line off the reel. It's kind of where I like to be, and I'll almost
with all.
almost all line. Yeah.
Yeah.
You almost feel like the line's starting to stretch before it starts making the drag slip. Is kind of what I like doing.
Me too.
And that usually ends up being about a third. So if you're at 60-pound test, that'd be 20 pounds as an example. 30-pound test would be 10 pounds of drag. And I just like fishing the heavy drag. Now what he was mentioning is having to back off. So on a star drag reel, you would just back the star off and the drag gets lighter. So that's pretty easy. As far as to how light, once again, I would just probably defer to a crew member and ask those guys what's going on, what's been working. Usually it's not going to be a lot less. So I wouldn't have it down to where you couldn't stop the fish and you'd probably lose them because of that. On a lever drag reel, it's a whole different system. So on a lever drag reel, you have a couple different buttons here. You have a 2-speed, button. You're going to have this preset, and then you're going to have actually the drag lever. So the way that these work here is a little different. It's going to have basically a strike setting. So there's usually going to be some place where the lever just stops going, and then you'll push that button down. Usually it'll have a button, or it might have a button on the lever itself. Push that down, you can go a little farther into full. Now full doesn't mean locked down. As you can see here, probably is going to be locked down, but, but I can still pull line off it. So it's definitely not locked.
Right.
That's a lot of drag right there. So what I want to do is work off of whatever this kind of strike indicator is going to be. And there, as you can see, is real light, real light. So I'm not going to stop a fish, 100-pound tuna with that, right? So I would put the reel back in the free spool, tighten up your preset, this preset knob here, put it back in the strike, and then test it again there. And so that's gotten a lot tighter, right?
Yeah,
so
much
that's
better.
a lot better. So you got to be able to kind of do that preset. And what you're presetting is how much drag you're going to have at strike, so how much range you're going to have. So that's basically how you set your drag. But once again, these guys on the boat, they really want you to catch fish. So if you ever have any question, ask those guys. And if you guys have even any question, say you're getting ready for a trip in a couple weeks, and you just want to get a little more familiar with your reels, bring them on in with the rod and everything, and we can kind of show you what it should feel like, in our opinion. Now that's all based on your own confidence. If you're kind of new to fishing, or maybe your knots haven't been really worked out yet, you might want to set a little bit lighter to account for that. But as you get more and more comfortable with your knot strength and all that, you should be able to go tighter and tighter into right about at a third. There's some guys who will fish even like 40%, which is pretty high, but I think a third is a pretty safe high level.
All right, good stuff. Joel, great question, Sam. Thank you for doing that. David Jimenez. Hey, guys, if the El Nino heats up really hot, will it push the bluefin out, or does that set up exotics near and bluefin on the banks? Bluefin are pretty versatile in there.
Right.
They'll bite up there in that 70-plus
Yeah.
degree water. I think they'll hang, and then you're going to see Dorado and yellowfin tuna and all of that, those exotics. And many times during those kind of years, you'll have that warm water on the beach, and then out like on the 60 and stuff, it's a little cooler. Maybe the bluefin will push out in that little cooler water, and then you'll have that river of yellowfin just streaming into San Diego in a perfect world, right?
Yeah. It seems like the bluefin, and I'm sure someone else might have a little bit more of an exact science to it, but I guess they're more of a tuna that can regulate their body heat.
Yes,
And so
correct.
like you said, they're more versatile in the sense of that they can exist in different kind of conditions a lot better, even dirty water and clear water, that kind of stuff. So yeah, I don't know if it'll affect them that much. It's probably going to be more a matter of food source. If the warm water somehow does something to the food source, the bait, if that starts going away, I think that would be a bigger problem for the bluefin, that they need to go somewhere to eat. So that would be something I would kind of keep my eye on more than just the water temperature.
I can still remember talking to Buzz Brizendine, who used to run the Prowler, and he told me that bluefin, their metabolism doesn't get going until we get to 67-degree water. And look, we're catching these things now in the high 50 degrees,
Yeah.
sometimes 60. But we never were dropping jigs down to 400 feet
Right.
back in the day
It's
trying to
colder
catch a
down there, I
bluefin.
guess. I don't
It's
know.
got to be, right?
I would think.
And
yeah.
and so I don't know if those are like you hit one on the head and it just like, what,
Maybe.
and bites, a reaction bite kind of
Yeah.
thing. So I think they really start rolling when that water gets a little warmer. The metabolism gets going and they really go on the feed. So I think we're just looking at a better and better and better season
Yeah,
as
yeah.
the time goes by, don't you?
The only other thing that I can say is, another kind of possible variable is that there is less commercial pressure on the bluefin. So
100%.
to me, that's got to be the biggest
I
factor.
agree. I couldn't agree more.
to
It
me,
has to be.
It has to be. The value of the bluefin, being so high in the 90s, really put a hurt on them, and we just didn't see them forever. Now, I'm sure there was other factors, but as soon as that pressure came off, it could have just been coincidence.
No way.
I don't think so.
No.
I mean, as soon as that pressure came off from the commercial side, the sport fishing side, has been on tap like as much as you want every year.
Yes.
So, that's all I can say about why they're here or why we see more of them is the commercial pressure for sure.
Absolutely. The Terrap says purple and black feather for the albacore,
Good one.
Phil. That's a great one.
That's a good one, too.
Absolutely. 100%. I remember trolling that a lot. Right. Steve Bermudez, man, we got all these guys talking about albacore as we surge up to 105
Really?
listeners this early in the night.
Jeez.
Yeah, we're flying here. Steve Bermudez, how do you sharpen a trolling hook for albacore?
With a file.
Yeah, same way you sharpen it for a bonita, right?
this, yeah.
Or a barracuda, anything else, right?
Yeah.
Does that answer your question,
Most
Steve?
of the hooks are going to be stainless, and so they're fairly soft metal. They're not some kind of really super hard metal. You have to have a super, file for it or something like that. They sell hook files. You can buy a hook file, but usually most boats will have one on deck. So if you feel like you want to sharpen it, one of the things I remember a guy showing me one time is if you rub it across your nail, it should kind of almost scratch it.
Right.
So if it's not doing that, you probably have to sharpen it.
Yeah. All right, good stuff. Rick Slater. Hey, this is a good question. I don't know the answer to it. What are the regs on albacore? Last time I fished them in '84,
Unlimited.
no limit.
No limits.
Yeah, I remember that, man. No limit on the
it's going to
albies.
be that. I haven't researched it, but
It's got to be 10.
I would imagine 5
think
or
it's
10.
10. Yeah. I think
It'll be
it's,
more than you need for sure.
yes,
I
definitely.
would imagine, but I think 5 is probably going to end up being 5. I don't know, but
Hey,
hopefully it'll be.
Bermudez, figure
somebody
that
look it
out.
up, yeah.
Yeah, look it up and let us know, Bermudez, while you're sharpening your albacore
I know up
hooks.
north, the guys that talk about doing it in Washington, it's still unlimited up there.
Yeah, it
Or
is, right?
25 or I don't know.
Something
it's
like
a
that,
lot,
yeah.
A big number.
I think it is like 25, yeah. All right, very good, Rick. We're going to find that out for you. Jan 6123. What scent power bait should I use when you're fishing
Albacore?
for the bluefin?
Sardine.
Yeah, sardine, sheep's head,
Yeah.
whatever. JC wants to know where's the food.
We ate it already.
JC, man, we already munched. No,
we're putting-
actually, JC,
actually,
send
we're
some
waiting on
food.
some food.
Yeah, we want
Yeah,
some
some
good.
guy said he's going to send it. We haven't gotten it
Yeah,
yet.
well, we're starving to
Oh,
death,
man, it's tough
JC.
over
So,
here, man.
come on, man. All you got to do is look up the address and send it over. We're good, JC. Thank you. David Jimenez, chartreuse with garlic. Yeah. PNS says, and then that's it. Joel Lopez, do you guys think this sea bass season, barely starting, will continue to stay hot or settle down later in the year? Itching to go, but can't just yet. I think it's going to get better.
Yeah, that's another one too that seems like a management,
Yeah.
has really kind of like helped that a lot, with all the grows, the grow out facilities that have been put together. That plus also I'm sure there's a little bit less pressure on them too.
Well, I mean, if you remember what really turned that thing around was banning gill nets.
Right.
That was the thing that really turned that fishery around.
And if you've never seen what a gill net can do, I'm sure it's on some YouTube channel somewhere.
Indiscriminate killer.
It is crazy the amount of, you're talking 50, 60 tons of fish on a set.
Yeah.
Like crazy amount of fish, and granted it's probably one of the most efficient, low cost ways to harvest fish inshore, but man, it takes everything. Everything.
Yeah, absolutely. And the only way they manage that is by mesh size. They make the mesh bigger,
Yeah.
and supposedly those fish can swim through. But it's an indiscriminate killer in that, it kills whatever that match
Whatever
size
comes in
is,
there.
whatever that
Yeah.
swims into it, it kills it.
Right.
So the banning of those gill nets, that opened the door to some incredible, a resurgence to white sea bass that when I was a kid on the Redondo
Never.
Special, I remember fishing off Point Vincennes and some lady winds up this 40-pound sea bass and Barney Barnes comes down to gaff it. And I'm like, what is it? And I've been a pinhead for a few years. Never seen one. And then, I don't think we saw another one forever. And now,
Yeah.
my God, that fishery is so good.
There was those years in the late 90s, they had those runs over there at Vincennes on the half-day boat, and there was occasions where they would catch
Yeah.
them, but not like this. I mean, not where it's like almost...
Consistent, like,
like for a month straight.
Yeah.
They're catching and big ones, too.
Yep.
They've never had that.
There was now that you mention it, John Dipley was running the Dinah Lee, and he had like 103 white sea bass one day. I remember that. And the buzzing Redondo and everything. But like you said, it was every once in a while.
Yeah.
And then, maybe they went in there and gill netted the hell out of it
Probably
after
what
that happened.
I'm sure that's what happened.
He showed them where they were basically by
Yeah,
making that catch. And same thing with the bluefin that used to come into the Santa Monica Bay. You go out there and make a catch on a sport boat, and there'd be seiners in there.
I remember seeing them, and they're thinking, like, what the heck are those boats doing here?
Yeah.
And it's like, they'd wrap everything
Mop
up,
it up.
bonita, everything, yeah.
Yep. You'd see a few tuna with net burns on them, and yeah, it was brutal. All right. P&S here now. Hello from Helena, Montana.
Oh, wow, that's pretty cool.
That
right
is
there.
awesome. Man, it's so good to see you with us. Thank you so much. Mike Trunk, why do accurate reels have so many problems?
Do they?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Do you accept that premise?
I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, yeah, they're definitely maybe a little bit higher percentage than other reels, but not to the point where you're going to point them out like one reel has 20 problems. I don't know. I don't think it's quite like that. But I will say this, that, in being in the fishing industry for so many years, accurates are held to a little higher standard. They're a little more expensive. It's just like buying a Mercedes or something like that. You're going to expect, everything to work perfectly because you're paying more money for them. So I think that when something happens to those reels, it seems to kind of be a bigger deal.
Boom. Yeah.
Yeah. Same thing like if you bought a Mercedes and the windows didn't roll up, you'd be pretty dang upset,
Yeah, right.
So it might be the same type of reaction, I think, maybe.
All right, there you go, Mike. Current Jam, do you guys have any recommendations for preventing seasickness? I use the patches and they work really well, but my kids are too young for it. Man, there's nothing
That's a
worse.
tough
Have you ever
one,
been
yeah.
seasick?
I have.
It sucks.
All you can do is try to fight it. You go outside and whatever, but
I mean,
man,
you get to the
pretty
point where
bad.
you hope the boat sinks, right? Like, just put me out of my
I
misery.
don't know if I've ever had it that bad, but it sucks.
Patches, I think, are the best for adults.
Yeah, right.
I've seen people that, like, you would think they'd never survive, and they put a patch. The subsequent trip, they put a patch, and they're good.
I've seen people that were so desperate they took somebody else's patch, which you're not supposed to do because you're supposed to have a prescription, and in an hour they're like, I can't believe it, it's just gone.
Yeah.
People that they know they've gotten sick before, they just come. We had a guy on a 6-day one time, and we had 2 days of traveling coming back, and it's like, I don't know what you're gonna do, man. I mean, he's asking me, what do I do? I'm like, I don't know. And the guy says, well, you could try this patch. And in an hour, he was like,
Really?
gone. Like,
Wow.
it's completely gone. So I mean, that stuff works wonders. I mean, but you just go get it. For the kids, I'm not sure.
I'm not sure about that either.
They
Yeah.
might make some kids motion sickness type medicine. Talk to your doctor. Maybe there's something other you can give them. But
Right,
I
right.
don't have the answer to that.
We should do a little Google search on that
Yeah.
at some point in time. Albert Ponce on the road driving to Albert, don't rub it in. He's driving to Rosarito and tomorrow to Ensenada to launch the Mako. Albert, have a great and safe ride down in Mexico Lindo. And man, have fun, eat a taco or something for me. He was talking to me about a Brazilian steakhouse or something in Rosarito, an Argentinian.
Okay.
And he said he goes, you got to come down here and try it. Yeah, he said it's out of this world. So, Albert, all our best to you. Michael Gruber, I'm driving out from Phoenix Saturday morning.
go.
What boat should I hop on for white sea bass and halibut? I'll drive to any landing. Well, the Pride's been super hot.
Pride, yeah.
The Apollo has been
Yep.
super hot.
Yep.
These are both out of 22nd Street Landing in San Pedro. I have my studio there. I'm not mentioning, I'm just telling you who's caught the sea bass here recently. Pride got in this morning with 25 halibut. That's amazing.
That's
right
crazy
there.
right there, yeah.
And limits of white sea bass. Chuck Zimmer was on there from the Redondo Rod and Gun Club.
I feel like I've only seen 25 halibut my whole life.
Yeah, I know,
You catch them
man.
on one trip.
I know.
It's crazy.
So just tremendous fishing for the Pride. He's at a 22nd. The last trip that the first trip the Apollo ran of the season, they got limits
yeah.
with Greg Obi-Mako and Jeff Jessup was on board. A couple of really good friends of mine. In fact, their podcasts are up if you want to get to know them a little bit better. So they've been on it. I'm trying to think. Those two guys, Freedom's had some sea bass also. I think Tino had 4 fish on his last trip. The Endeavor up there out of Ventura Harbor Sport Fishing had limits about a week ago. The Aloha Spirit had as many as 16 white sea bass here recently. So there's several alternatives for you. I just think about making a reservation pretty soon if you're coming on a
All I was
weekend.
gonna say is I don't know what boat you can get on.
Yeah.
That's going to be the bigger problem.
Right.
Yeah.
And weather-wise, somebody mentioned that there's some weather heading our way, so I haven't looked at that. You might want to take a look at that also. So, Michael, best of luck to you. Let us know how you do. Aaron Arguleris just picked up a Dauntless 500 Narrow. Haven't got a rod yet for her. What do you recommend, seeker-wise?
Seeker. You're going to want to get so those accurate arrows. One of the things about them is that the space between the clamp bolts is pretty small, and so you'll either have to get some aftermarket clamp if you're going to put it on a bigger rod. Most of the Seekers are a little bit bigger, and so I'm not exactly sure what's going to fit. Maybe a 278H or something like that might fit it, but keep that in mind when you're choosing the rod. Is don't buy it online or don't buy it without taking your reel to the shop that you're going to buy it from to make sure that it fits on that rod, especially if it's going to be a Seeker.
All right, very good. Where am I now? Oh, here we are. I think here we are. SoCal Fisherman. I just looked in to see how many questions there are. There's like 600. Ventura County check-in. You guys rock. Thank you so very much. The top still on the CalStar rod hunt. Do bigger shops have more selection, or can I order from my local shop through CalStar? Not familiar with other brands yet.
So the CalStar question, they're still behind. There's such high demand for that CalStar product, especially blanks. As far as it being, I don't consider myself a big shop, but we are one of the shops that really caters to the rod builder. So we do have a lot of CalStar stock, but I would almost guarantee if you put the model number he's looking for, is 95% chance we probably don't have it because he's been looking already.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, as far as ordering it from a small shop, you should be able to order it through a smaller shop, but it may be a while before you get it. One of the best ways to go about it is really just call all the bigger shops, like you said, and it sounds like you're bugging them, but it's not. We understand guys are trying to get their stuff. Call them once a week. And that's going to be your best way to get whatever you're looking for. If you put down the model number, I'll let you know whether I have it. But yeah, it's tough. It might take a while to paint on the model you're looking for.
All right, Steve Bermuda says he's calling from Tulare Lake. He's got his long fin aluminum hat on and praying hard for Albacore. Good job, Bermuda.
Pretty crazy with that lake thing.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you've seen the actual county.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's pretty wild.
It is,
the
right?
whole city's underwater.
That place, that was the largest river west of, or largest lake west of the Mississippi for many years, and the largest freshwater lake in the country at one time. And then it just, because they diverted for agriculture.
Diverted all the water, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, not even now. It's like one of the areas that has like the biggest, I guess, dairy farms and all that stuff. So there's all kinds of stuff that's kind of like, the breadbasket of the country, of the world in some cases, depending on some crops, and they're going to be affected by that.
It's pretty wild, though, that correlation between the albacore and that. I even started to look at wildflower blooms. And you know why? Because that's all wet. That's all rain related. That's all. So I'm looking at the runoff and the anchovy, and anything that indicates that, I think, indicates albacore. But we'll see. Jeff Fuchs wants to know how to rig up for halibut. So I talked to
Sean?
yeah, not Sean, the guy from the Rod and Reel Club, Zimmer, Chuck.
Oh, Chuck Zimmer.
Chuck, sorry. They were using a reverse dropper loop, 5.0 hook, and a 4-ounce torpedo.
Using squid, probably.
Correct.
So that's probably the biggest component to this year is that with that, the squid beds is a lot of these fish will go on the spawn, they'll go on the feed, and it kind of makes it kind of easy, you know, with fishing a fin bait, you know, you got to like use a trap hook and all that stuff. I think with that squid, they just kind of like suck it up.
Yeah.
And a reverse dropper loop is probably you're gonna catch both halibut and white sea bass.
Do we want to show people what a reverse drop
Sure,
loop is?
sure,
Is that
sure.
okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, because that is the hot ticket. I know
do you
that.
do it?
Huh? No, I defer to you. And Chuck said that was the way they caught all their halibut. 4-ounce torpedo, 5/0 hook, and reverse dropper loop was the way to do it. I was going to catch up on a little bit more of the fishing while Sam rounds up the stuff to demonstrate that. And one other thing that I wanted to mention to you is that the rockfish bite has been spectacular just about everywhere. We're fishing this deep water now. We're catching these big, giant reds and lings and so much more. So it's been really good. Pursuit today with a 35-pound yellowtail at Catalina Island. Hopefully that's getting ready to kick into gear also. All right, Sam.
So basically, we'll kind of shoot why they call it a reverse dropper loop. You know, so normally a dropper loop, you know, you can just kind of I don't know, do this here, huh? You can kind of just make a loop in your line like you rock fishing here, which is real easy, and you would tie your sinker to the bottom. Is that you talking down there?
Yeah.
And then you would put your hook on the loop.
Yeah.
So it's basic, you know, like rock fishing, right? So reverse dropper loop, I should get a pair of cutters here, is basically putting it the other way, where you're putting
Bait down below.
you're putting your bait on the tag end, basically. So now what you're going to do here is you'll make the same kind of loop, but you'll make a long loop. Kind of want to measure it way out like that. Put the sinker on here. You can just loop that on there. And so now you're going to have this situation like this here. I should probably tighten that up. Where you're going to have your sinker down here. And the whole idea is that as you're drifting, you're going to be fishing this stuff on the drift usually, not on the anchor, but you can do it on the anchor as well. Is that you're going to have your sinker there, and as the boat's drifting, it's going to be hitting the bottom, and it's going to act like kind of like a little bit of like a bounce ball type effect here.
Yeah.
As it's going along.
Sand is
Yeah.
getting rustled up.
And so then you just
Predators are like, what is that, right?
Yeah, especially with that squid that, you know, isn't going to be able to swim around too much. You're just going to tie this here. You're going to be also one of the natural things or presentations of this is that you're able to kind of keep your bait at a constant height or, you know, depth, I guess, off the bottom.
Yeah.
So usually these things are pretty long. This might be a little bit too long. I'll put my face here. But you might.
Is that about right, or is that too?
Yeah,
that's
it might
about
be a
right.
little long, but
Yeah.
it's about right. You might
Yeah.
even want a longer one of these guys here, a longer loop. But you basically your bait's going to stay at a constant depth off the bottom, kind of right off the bottom, right, just like that. So
Yeah.
pretty simple. You're just kind of putting the weight on the loop and tying your hook over there. That's basically it. Yeah.
Perfect. Reverse dropper loop and 4-ounce torpedo. That has been the most effective way where these San Pedro guys are fishing, and they've been doing really, really, really well. Current jam. What hooks would you recommend for the 2140G Shimano Current Sniper jig?
I think I saw that question earlier. He was saying the 21 to 40 gram. So those are the smaller guys. Those are the smallest ones that they make.
Yeah, those are small.
Typically, you know, the hook size is really going to be dependent on not necessarily the jig size or even the fish size, but maybe how heavy a line you're using. A lot of times we change the hooks out on those Colt Snipers and Zakana jigs because we're fishing heavy lines. So you might be using a 100-gram Colt Sniper, but you're using like 60 or 80-pound test or 100-pound test leader. So you're pulling super hard on them. So a lot of it's going to depend on the size line you're using. If those small jigs like that, if you're using 50-pound, you know, I would go to the ST66 in maybe a size 2 to match the size of the jig. And as you go bigger in the jig, you go to a bigger size. Up to about a 2.0 would probably be the biggest size, but from 2 to 2.0 with that 2 being the one they would use for those smaller guys.
All right, perfect. PNS says, Joel Lopez, The assist hooks were to the bite leader. No safety line needed. So all of your pressure is straight to the bite leader. All right, very good.
You know what he's talking about?
Yes.
Good.
If sinker broke or fell off, the fish is still hooked to the
Yeah.
bite leader,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
All right, good stuff. And he's back again. Bite leader with a split ring, two owner assist hooks with a little feather on it. Then same split ring attached to the top of the torpedo.
Yeah.
All making sense to you?
You want to show
Yeah,
him that?
let's do it. Good job.
Commercial.
P&S, yeah, commercial time. Or more fishing updates.
More fishing updates.
So really, really excellent halibut, and that has been with the white sea bass. I mean, Chuck Zimmer told me that it was incredible. And once again, everybody, I'm telling you, Chuck Zimmer said he had a leadhead and squid over the side of the Pride. Everybody was catching white sea bass. He couldn't get a bite. Sean Roberts, the captain, walked over to him, said, "What are you fishing with?" He showed him. It was just a regular leadhead. He put an orange leadhead on, dropped it down, and was instantly bit. And as he started to take notice, Chuck said every fish was coming on a pink or orange half-ounce leadhead with a 5.0 or 6.0 size hook combined with a live squid. That was the hot ticket. That's what you need to know about this. And then if you're going to go fish that halibut, Sam just did a great demonstration for you about the reverse dropper loop, 5.0 hook, and a 4-ounce torpedo sinker. The sinker, that can change. If you're fishing
Yeah.
deeper water, you have a lot of current. This was in 50 feet of water, more or less. That's where they're catching the flatties.
Maybe not too
But-
much wind.
Yeah,
A
you know.
little windier?
No, it wasn't too windy.
Oh, so
though.
if it's windy,
Oh, if it's windy, you got to go heavier,
Heavier weight.
right? Yeah, absolutely. All right, Sam, what are you doing now? I forgot, actually.
So this is going to be,
Is there any more burritos left?
there's a couple burritos over
I'm
there.
not even hungry. Do you want an energy drink?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. Think I might have one more.
I appreciate it. So like he was mentioning here, you're going to tie your line. And here I'm just tying this line, that spool line that we have here. But you can tie your Spectra from your reel right to it. I think we were talking about that in the previous shows, is you can tie it right to this bite leader here. But I'm just going to put a simple little Palomar down here. But whatever you got on your reel to the end there. So that's your bite leader like he was talking.
Yeah.
Right? Now we're going to attach a assist hook to the bite leader, and this is one of the 300-pound fluorocarbon bite leaders that we sell. This is kind of our super heavy duty guy. So we put the super heavy duty split ring on it. This is like those 5,000-pound split rings or something like that. You can tow a car with it.
Yeah, I know. My God.
So basically, we're starting out just kind of, if you look back at our past videos where you're just tying your line right to the bite leader, and we're starting out just like this, real simple. You can put this right on your rod, attach it to your reel as you're waiting and going from spot to spot. And normally we would attach a jig to it.
Yeah.
So just how we showed last time, but in this case, it's talking about the torpedo sinker.
And that was effective, right?
That was effective on that trip, yeah.
Yeah,
And I'm pretty sure at times it is. So look, what color is that?
gold.
So that means that it's probably,
Probably not good.
well, it's okay because we're not going to pull through it.
That's true.
But I'll show you that in a second here, that other issue we may have. But in this case, we're not going to have it.
Yeah, because yeah, you're going to be okay if that
We're-
breaks off, right?
It's not going to break off. Well, I guess anything can happen. But right now, let's say you hook a big one. You wanna
Yeah.
take a bite out of that so you
Sure.
can show you how to hook it? So if you hook a big one right there, you're pulling direct to the hook.
Yeah.
And to the leader, and to the assist hook here. So the jig itself, I mean the sinker itself,
Isn't
nothing's
effective.
happening to it, right?
Yeah, right.
No problem. Now, if you were to have another hook down below, let's just say down here,
Yes.
and then let's say this hook didn't get in the mouth, but this one did, and you're pulling through the sinker, that's where you're saying that you might have to have that safety line that would go from your split ring down to this ring here.
Yes.
So that's where that would come into play.
Got it.
And this has the brass rings, as you can kind of see. So this one most likely is not wired through.
Right. The
so
silver
that's-
ones are.
The silver ones are, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's how that works there.
All right, perfect. All right, let's see, where are we here? Face too much OG. Do you recommend aftermarket rod clamps for deckhand jig stick, or do you cushion the site where the reel is clamped? I'm scared of cracking a rod by tightening down too much.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
a
that-
fear.
Yeah, and it really depends on the rod. Some rods are thinner walled than others, so it's kind of not really one answer to the whole thing, you know. But those aftermarket clamps typically have a much wider clamp, so I would definitely go with that. I think Duran Fishing Products just came out with a basically reintroduced the cork puppy, which was around a few years back. I'm not sure if he's making them anymore, but it's basically a super long clamp that spreads out the load over a much bigger part of the rod. I don't have one here to show you, but definitely if you have any concern of that, those aftermarket clamps do a much better job of spreading out the load. So you can do both. You can do that and also add cushion, and that way you're double good.
All right, PNS Harnack says, guys, had 180 gram and 300 gram fancy knife jigs and such. Not a single bite. Once the whole boat was using the torpedo sinker with limits within like an hour. So, man, what can you say, right?
Yeah, at times it works. You know, sometimes some of these kind of stories on that particular trip, maybe they wanted something that looked like that. You know, maybe the jigs that they had weren't as fancy as he thought that they were. You know, maybe there's fancier jigs out there that would have worked better. I don't know, but you know, when you're in the heat of the moment, you know, and you turn around and the guy guy left of you is doing something, it feels like the whole world is doing it. But
yeah,
it's important to kind of be open, talk to the crew. More than anything, talk to the crew and take some of these sinkers, and you could, if you have all the pieces, you know, you can come down and buy all the pieces. You can put it on one of your sinkers, and don't be afraid to do it. Like I think we've mentioned in the last shows, is be open to all different methods, all different ways of getting them, because on any particular day, it may be one of those ways that gets them.
I think Roy Rose is the guy who started this whole thing on the Royal Polaris,
It was
if I remember
on the Royal
right.
Polaris. I think it was Eddie, one of the crew members there, that officially. The guy who first put his name on it was Eddie from there, and they call him the Eddie Bombs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was on the Royal Polaris.
It was on the Royal Polaris.
Because you've got to think those guys are out there seeing what's going on.
Yeah.
They're going, you know what? I bet this would work.
This will work, yeah.
Yeah, and they do it, and I bet they're stoked when they get the first one,
yeah.
right? That's pretty exciting. All right, thank you for sharing that. Isaac says, so are you guys saying Albacore coming, no need to buy a bigger setup than my HX Raptor and my Pan Fathom 40? Is that all I need? Well,
if you don't want to catch a big fish.
If you don't want to catch big bluefin.
Yeah. Albacore don't get that big. You know, a big one would be a 30, 40 pounder.
Yeah.
So if that's what comes and that's what you want to go get, just when they start catching bluefin, just go ahead and go to sleep.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Isaac, catch up on a nap at that point. Ruben Lopez on the Albacore. Don't forget that Albacore smell of the water.
They do smell of the water, don't they?
Yeah, is that what that means?
I don't know.
Well, I'll tell you this. This is the honest to God truth. Eddie McEwen, who used to run the Pacific Queen, he told me one day, he goes, Phil, I can smell them before we catch them. I can smell them.
I believe it.
When you get into the zone.
Yeah.
And I go, really? And
Barracuda
he goes, yeah.
are like that.
Yeah, I know, right?
Wahoo are like that, same kind of smell.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever smelled Albacore, but
I kind of, it's been a long time, you know, but
they
I
just
kind of
smell like
remember that.
Slimy for sure, but
Yeah.
just like the other tuna, I guess.
Yeah.
But
So,
I think too that Albacore sometimes will ball up.
yeah.
Maybe you're smelling that too.
Yeah, that could very well be. All right, Joe Bobo Tubbs. Hi, Sam and Phil. Gear suggestion for the Endeavor trip next week. Thank you. So he's on the Endeavor trip with us. It's got to be, shallow water for the sea bass. So what we've talked about, those lead heads, the reverse dropper loop, and then of course probably heavy tackle for some rockcod fishing.
Yeah. Medium to heavy tackle. Now heavy tackle means like a rail rod and 100-pound test, but I would say 30 to 40-pound test. 8-foot rod. Doesn't have to be a 2-speed. It could be something along something about this size. But if you have a bigger 2-speed, it would probably work just fine. Those sea bass, when they go on the bite, you're using a lot of weight. You don't need to finesse them. It's not like fishing a pinhead anchovy or something like that. So anything actually in this size would be all right, and a nice heavy 8-foot rod.
All right, perfect. Joe Dansorau says he's from Arizona, by the way, watching us.
Oh, I know Joe.
Do you?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Joe, Sam's a fan of yours. He's going to make the trip down in June, going to bring his boat staying for 5 days. I want to hit rockfish the first day. Any pointers on where to go? Thanks, guys.
When was that going to be?
June. And he wants to fish rockfish.
Like Channel Islands, I would think.
Yeah, I would say for sure. Channel Islands.
By the time June rolls around, all the local boats are probably going to start doing some more surface type fishing.
Yeah.
So I definitely would head up there.
Yeah,
Ventura.
it's so good up there, Joe, that you can hardly go wrong. Dan Smith, a bit late, but hello, Sam and Phil and the fine folks of the Friedman Adventure family. Phil, you better get the feathers tied up, man. Albacore on the way. Dan Smith is an old commercial albacore fisherman, and he would be totally stoked if this thing came to fruition. Look what we started here, man.
Yeah.
It's really going crazy. All right, Charles Zimmer. I forgot who you were a second ago, Chuck. I hope you weren't listening. Chuck Zimmer, do you set your drag at 1/3 at strike or on full? I set my avid at 30 pounds at full fishing 100 pound.
Strike. That's where I set my 1/3 is at strike. So at full, you might be at about 42 pounds or something like that at full.
All right, very good. Fish guy. Yozuri Blue Chrome Mackerel Hydro Magnum Natural Cedar Plug Green Orange Zucchini 6-shooter 4 albies. All good choices,
ones.
right?
Yep.
Yeah. Rocket Dog says, good evening, boys. Fish guy. I think it's 5 below Conception and 25 north of there.
Albacore limits.
Oh, there you go. Thank you. 5 below there, huh? It should be 10. I'm getting greedy. We just want 1, right, Sam?
What about on a day and a half trip?
Oh, yeah, exactly. Jan6, 1, 2, 3. How about an island fishing tackle show like Pawn Stars? Well, this might evolve into that, man,
yeah.
right? We don't know where this is going to take us,
Yeah, you never know.
but it's getting there. I mean,
It'd
we
be
have
pretty
people
cool.
dropping in with fish, and that was pretty cool.
Yeah,
Mark,
yeah.
thanks again. Scott Buchert sent us food. We've got a prime rib coming tonight.
Prime ribs coming, yep.
Yeah. How can it get any better than that? Vinny's Adventure. Hey, Phil, buddy of Schaefer Air. How are you? Tight lines, everyone. Vinny, Schaefer's Air. Dave Shaver donated a substantial amount of money to help get all that clothing down to Mexico.
Oh, very cool.
Dave, thank you so much. And Vinny, I know you, gosh, I forget where it is. I think he goes up north and like to Pismo. And they do clams and they go fishing and they just really have a great time. And they do some stuff up in Alaska, I believe, but it just sounds like really great stuff. Yeah, thank you. Looking forward to hearing more from you. Jan6, 1, 2, 3. I remember the great white sea bass bite from 2001 to 2002. Looking forward to a similar bite this year. So are we. Old school Redondo special, says Daniel. Yes, absolutely. I remember that. I mentioned Barney Barnes. He was running the boat. I was a kid, and he got a pinback shark in his arm, and it was all like scooted up. So the next morning I was down on the boat, and he goes, come here. And he puts me up in the wheelhouse. He goes, I'm going to show you how to do this now. And so I'm like coming up, and there was a guy named Dave. I can't remember, a really super nice guy working on the bait receiver. And he looks up, he goes, Captain Phil. And Barney goes, just put it in gear, pull it back. And, I like docked the boat. It was like the biggest,
Pretty awesome.
15 or whatever it was, It was really
King
cool.
of the world.
Yeah, exactly. Rick Slater, do you credit the Hubs Breeding White Sea Bass program for this better fishing?
In part, for sure. Yeah, I think we were mentioning that and the gill nets.
Yeah.
100%.
Yep. I think both those things combine, and management. Yeah.
That's the whole deal, with all this. We talk about CCA and all that stuff, and really, we're not trying to kill everything or close everything. I mean, we understand there's two sides of it, and a lot of times they both pull the opposite way, so they seem really kind of like they're so opposite. But really, it's about management.
Management works.
Oh, for sure.
Management absolutely works. If we all get behind that, and I know most of us are, management works. I think there could be some better management. I would love to see a slot limit on calico bass and sheep's head. I think if we had a slot limit on calico bass, it would be phenomenal. You would see lots of 10-pound calico bass around if we used the slot limit. So there's a better way to manage things, but we can always improve. The important thing is that we're all working together to take care and be stewards of the sea and take care of our ocean's environment. Thank you, Rick. Good question. Vinny's Adventure. Dave says, let's go fishing Saturday. Dave, I would love to, man.
Saturday's the day.
Yeah, let's do it. Joel Lopez, what's your favorite species to catch or island to fish when you know you're going there or fishing that species gets you excited? What do you like to fish? What island? And what do you like to catch?
Well,
Joel Lopez wants to know.
Guadalupe Island, probably like the island that, if I had one place to fish the rest of my life.
You like the
I guess.
Loop?
Yeah, it's got everything. You got the big tuna, you got yellowtail.
Giant yellows.
Yeah, you
The
got
calico
good
bass
fishing
right
is
there is
good.
insane.
Yeah, I mean, they have occasional wahoo. I don't know if you can get any better than in Guadalupe. They kind of got everything.
But it's closed now.
Yeah,
so,
you can't fish there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess right now, San Clemente, I guess local if you had to pick an island, San Clemente Island. But I don't know. I mean, there's times when Santa Barbara is pretty good too. But probably San Clemente probably offers the most variety options, you know, close enough to the tuna and all the local stuff too.
All right. Dan Smith says Albacore, 10 fish, special limit, in addition to an overall limit of 20 fin fish. Kim looked it up on the CDFW.
10 fish.
10 albies, baby. Bring them on. Let's start throwing them on. And Dan Smith, double check, folks at the California Department of Fish and Wildlife to be sure. So he's recommending you do that. Chris Martinez, you know Christopher Martinez?
I think so.
He says, what's up, fishing vatos? Jonathan Jones. For the person asking about seasickness, I think you should make sure the kids have food in their belly, pancakes with lots of syrup.
Yeah.
Is that a good idea?
Probably something like that versus something that's acidic.
Yeah, absolutely. Dansky, I'm thinking of buying a Makaira 20 for trolling and jigging for big bluefin this season. I've used one before for trolling, but is it a good reel for jigging as well, or would you choose another reel?
So jigging meaning, you know, we throw that word around.
Yeah.
But jigging,
Probably nighttime jigging he's talking about.
Well, also too, jigging has kind of become something different, you know, with these guys that are doing this vertical,
Yeah.
you know, speed jigging type thing.
Yeah.
So that really, by definition, is more what jigging is. But if you're just talking about dropping a jig on a heavy rod, you know, it is also jigging in a way, but you know, there's the two types of things there, and so for that, I would say it's really good. So let me bring both of those outfits to you.
Yeah, please do.
That's a real common question we get in the shop all the time.
While you do, Arnie down in Ensenada, Baja California is watching us, Sam. And Arnie Sport Fishing, you can find him on Facebook, Arnie Man or Arnie's Fishing. Arnie's eating his palomitas, his popcorn, and enjoying the show tonight. Arnie, it's always good to hear from you, but the point Arnie wants to make is there's bluefin tuna in Ensenada. They are catching BFT, and you can join Arnie. He has a great operation down there. I highly recommend you get in touch with him. Arnie, thanks for watching us. I really, really appreciate it. All right, Sam is going to run that down for us right now. That's a nice update that they are catching bluefin tuna down there in Ensenada. Those pongueros down there are getting into the fish. It's been a little bit of a late bite later in the day. That may have changed. I know that Louis Prieto, who runs It's for Reels Sport Fishing, also in Ensenada. Louis said he was out there fishing the upper 500, which is a bank outside of there, and he said it was a later bite in the day, almost like a sundown bite, and then into the nighttime, and guys were catching fish during that time. So, Arnie, great to see you here with us from Ensenada, Baja California Norte.
Hold that guy.
You got it.
So that's a Makaira 20 right there that you got in your hand.
Yeah.
With what I would consider a common rail rod. This is United Composite 7.5-foot Viper.
Yep.
Same kind of rod that you would use on a long range boat, fishing mackerel or something like that for a big tuna. This is a jigging rod here, and so even though they're both good sized reels, you can see that the rods are way different.
Yeah, way different.
I don't know if you can see on TV here.
Yeah, I think so.
But you know, one's a big beefy rail rod.
Yeah.
And the other one's a jigging rod. You know, this jigging rod is here, kind of like what Brian's been talking about in the seminars. That's kind of more what this is here. This is a Megalodon 609 from Phoenix, and this is a RCX 76 Viper from United Composites. Both of them can land 150-pound tuna in short order. Just a different way to go about it. So if this is the reel you're trying to get, this is the rod that would go with it. I really wouldn't put that reel on this rod or this reel on that rod.
Yeah, that wouldn't make sense.
Yeah, they don't go together. So just make sure you're getting a matched outfit. But yeah, good to go.
All right, perfect. Sam, thanks for doing that. I'm telling you, what a show. You're running around doing so much. Well up over
That's all the
100 people watching
running
this.
around.
I know. 100 people continuing on the show. Joe Lopez, how do you change out rusted jig hooks with welded on ring?
Welded on.
Yeah.
So we do silver soldering here. Just put this table back.
Sure.
Here. You're gonna end up in the camera.
Yeah, really.
So we do silver soldering here in the shop. What you want to use is 56% silver rod, and then a black flux. You could use any kind of the flame can be, we use map gas here just to do it quicker, but it can be something else. But I would kind of mention one thing is that if that hook isn't bent out or broken, I'd probably leave it on. I'd leave it on the way it is. I know sometimes you look at a hook, it looks rusty. It's very, very just surface rust. And sometimes what happens is you change that hook out, you think, oh man, I don't want to lose a fish because this hook is no good. Well, sometimes what will happen is you'll put a new hook on there thinking that it's a beefier hook and it'll kill the action on it. So if the jig is swimming real good, I'd probably leave it on. But if the hook's messed up or bent, sometimes what happens is that a crew member needs to get the hook out of a nice sized fish and they'll bend it trying to get it out, which happens, is no problem. Is try to straighten out while you're fishing, but after the trip you can probably bring it into us and have it done. That's actually something that we do get a lot of guys ask about that. I don't know if we can really show how to braise.
Maybe on a next week's show?
We'll figure out maybe doing a short like that. Maybe might be
that's a good idea. Yeah, let's do that.
We'll do it after the show. We'll do a short.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's pretty easy to do. Yeah.
Oh, perfect. So maybe we'll have that for you later tonight or tomorrow morning for sure. We're going to do that, right?
I just told you we're going to do it.
Well, no, you didn't. You said maybe we're going to do it.
We'll do it.
I'm trying to pin you down on this.
Yes, you are.
All right. Jake says 1, 2, 3 says, "Forgive me, Father, for I have fished."
All right.
All right. I like it. I get the biblical reference there. David Alcanzar went out on the Amigo last week.
Heck yeah.
Reverse dropper loop was the ticket. Scored 2 halibut and 1 sea bass. David, good job, number 1. Thanks for sharing that, number 2, man. So there it is.
2 halibut and a sea bass.
That's a nice day, right?
That's a good day.
Man.
Jeez.
Thank you for sharing that. So, Cal Drew just dropped us a $10
Woo,
bill.
That's right,
Drew,
baby.
you're number 1. Thank you so much. We deeply, deeply appreciate it. JC, deserts on the way, gents. Or desserts.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Where's it at?
JC, are you kidding around?
If it's not,
My
that's awesome.
My keto thing is going down the tubes
Yeah.
on this
Not my
show.
fault, man.
Yeah, it is. I'm going to tell Scott to start sending ribs or something. All right. Hey, JC, is that true, man? Well, I'm like smiling. Here we go. All right. Deserts are on the way. You know, I'm a school teacher, right? Jeez. I'm tired tonight. All right. How do you...
Show me the name.
Yeah. This one.
Ayo Paris.
Ayo Barras. All right, thank you. I need help tonight. Spring tips for island yellowtail fishing.
Spring tips. So usually going to be on the squid. Pretty much the same thing as catching a sea bass or a halibut. Probably going to be more on the dropper loop side as well. But springtime, sometimes you'll get into where they'll eat the yo-yo pretty good. Maybe like a scrambled egg or something like that. 6X Junior, Tatty 4.0, heavy. And that's probably where
Especially
I would
if you want to
start.
make it this spring in particular, because with the
Yeah.
cold water, those fish are deeper.
Deeper water
So you're
fish, yeah.
talking yo-yo, absolutely, right? And
Most likely going to be on the squid though right now.
yeah. And the fish that have been caught so far this year, down at Collinette, that was a lot of yo-yo ironfish. And at the islands, mostly the Coronado Islands, it's been mostly yo-yo iron. So deep fish so far, this
and,
spring
you
especially.
know, some of those lead heads that we were talking about with the sea bass, you know, they come in a larger size. You can get a 2 ounce or maybe even a 3 ounce and try something like that too. They have that nice big hook. So really getting the bait down to them, that live squid if you got that. If not, maybe a yo-yo jig.
Blue Skies, how about Abbott JX? What line is recommended?
40 pound top shot, 65 pound braid. Should take about 400 yards of that and then 40 pound top shot.
117 people watching right now.
Wow.
Thank you very much, everybody.
That's
We
awesome.
deeply appreciate it. This show is just getting better and better and better, and I have nothing to do with it.
Not one thing. The desserts.
Yeah, the desserts are coming. Thank
Everyone's
you.
waiting to see what the desserts are going to be.
I know, man. I can't wait. If JC's fooling with us, I'm going to be mad at JC if this is just a tease.
He
Not
wouldn't
not
do that.
nice.
He
I
wouldn't
don't-
do that. He wouldn't do that.
I don't think so. David Jimenez, my wife said she'll divorce me if I go on the sea bass trip next week. What time are we leaving?
Yeah.
That's a win-win, David. What are
Yeah,
you talking
I know,
about?
man.
You go fishing and get
She'll
divorced.
She'll be back.
Yeah, don't worry about it. She'll
Yeah.
be back. Bring her a sea bass.
Yeah.
That'll do it every time. That, you know, some wives are, you know, my wife is, go fishing. You know,
Yeah.
go for 3
Get out
weeks.
of here.
Exactly. All right. Joe Valerio. Joe's looking for a stouter, thinner gauge, ring size 2, 1.0 and 2.0 circle hook. Must add, doesn't make Demon 4X strong in those sizes.
They don't. They don't. When you get that small, you know, on a circle hook, it just starts to close up almost. You can't even hardly use it. Up to now, I mean, the smallest hook is going to be probably still, I think, Mustad makes a 3.0 in the 4X. Here, I'll grab it. Now, one of the things about the Mustad sizes is that they're smaller than the owner sizes. So I think it's kind of important to remember that.
Can you guys hear Sam all the way over there, by the way? Give me a sound check. Sam,
I'll keep talking if you want. You want me to
Yeah,
keep
he's talking. So I just, later on, I know these comments are going to be a little bit further down. If you're wondering why I'm here at Island Fishing Tag, I'm normally at 22nd Street, because Sam is a great father, and he's going to be going to a couple of baseball practices with his kids tomorrow. So we're doing the show tonight. I'm happy we're doing it. It's a great night. 120 people watching now.
Wow.
We're building.
They're waiting for that dessert.
No, man. Yeah, they can't wait to see what the dessert is. What have we had arrive today? Del Taco,
Del Taco.
a sheep's head,
Sheep's
a
head.
mackerel, and a
Mackerel.
red.
And a red, yeah.
Man, I'll tell you. And now dessert. What do you think? Make your bet. What is it going to be?
Cheesecake.
I'm going banana split.
Banana splits? Could be. So, okay, guys, here. These are two 3.0 hooks here. Now, this is the Mustad here, the R39943. On the package here, it's deceiving. It says 3X, but it's actually their 4X hook. If you look at the numbering, is a 39943. But that's from Mustad. And then here's an owner ringed Mutu, which these end up being a very similar gauge of wire. But as you can see, this is the owner, and this is the Mustad. You can see how much smaller the Mustad is there. So sometimes you just change brands. This 3.0 would probably be about the size of a 1 or a 1.0 in the owner. That's probably what I should have grabbed, was a 1.0. You can see the same size hook.
That's crazy, the difference, right?
Yeah, in a way. I mean, to a degree, there isn't any kind of weights and measures to it as far as, you know, what's,
Right.
you know, how we do this here, but. But
By the way, everybody, morning briefing tomorrow morning early. I'll have all the very latest for you, including an update on how the Pegasus does tonight at night. We've got Scott Buchert on board the Pegasus, and he'll be checking in with me, or I'll kill him. Sam.
So then here we go. This is owner size 1. We're looking for the dessert. Oh, you got me. So this is an owner size 1 here. So as you can see, it's about the same size as the 3.0 from Mustad. But, and I'm not sure if this comes across on the phone on your high-tech equipment here, but.
What are you talking about? That's 4, or what do you call it, 4K?
But the one on this side here, that's the owner. As you can see, it's a smaller gauge wire. And the one on the right is the Mustad. So if you just go to a different brand, sometimes that's going to be the deal here. And if you come to the shop, I can show these to you. But yeah, this 3.0 from Mustad is about the smallest, heaviest hook anybody makes.
All right, very good. Joel Lopez, what are you doing? You're looking for the dessert, man. It's you. What's something in your arsenal that you... Are you kidding me? JC, man. What do we got here?
I don't know.
John, right?
Yep, thank you.
What is it?
I don't know.
Hey, JC, you're number one, man. If I doubted you for 1 second, I take it all back. Anybody have a guess?
We're both wrong.
What is it? We're both
Someone should guess.
I'm still going to guess?
We're not going to eat until somebody guesses right.
Yeah, what is it? What do you think our dessert is, everybody? You have to make a guess.
Oh, man.
Is it that good?
Yeah, it's pretty good, man.
Oh, my
I'm
God.
not going to give it away.
You're killing me. Oh, my God. JC, we love you. We're not going to give it away until somebody guesses what it is. We can't eat them until somebody guesses, right?
Yeah.
Is that the game? All right, I love it. JC, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. All right, let's see. Where are we now? Oh, did you get a question? Did I give you a question, or are we moving on to the next one?
I went to get dessert. I don't know. I didn't hear nothing after that.
Steve Bermudez, I'm still at Tulare Lake, and you're right. I can't see them, but I can sure smell them. A little bit like cows, he thinks albacore smell like. Yeah. 540 Slinger, good evening, Phil and Sam. Looking forward to watching this full tomorrow morning. He's on his work break right now. Jeff, great to see you, my friend. Jeff Yeomans from the 540 Slingers Club. Great club. Tony, Sam, Do you have a trade-in program, or do you buy used gear?
We do buy used gear. You know, a lot of guys will come in and they just kind of want to get some newer gear. Bring it in. We'll take a look at it. Typically what I'll tell them is if you have the time and you want to go through the hassle, you put it on offer up. You'll probably get a few more bucks for it than in here, to be honest with you. But if you don't want to go through the hassle, come on down and we'll definitely help you out.
Okay, very good.
All right.
Doug Rubin on the El Sueño.
Fell asleep.
Yeah, I did. How'd you know? Full steam bluefin tuna today. I think. Did you get him, Doug?
Nice.
Elaborate a little bit more on your day. Mike Truck. I'll bet you there is not going to be an elbow court caught this year, an albacore caught this year, I'm sure.
How much you want to bet?
If I win, you jump in the water at 22nd Street. If you win, I'll jump in the water at 22nd Street.
No.
Why not?
It's got to be a little bit better odds. I mean, you're the one really
Going out
with
on
the
a
long
limb?
shot. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't go 1-1 on a long shot.
Mike, come on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like-
you've got to jump off the Vincent
It's like
Thomas
1,000 to
Bridge,
1 odds
right?
now, I mean, yeah, you can't get even money on 1,000 to 1
Come
odds.
on, Mike. What do you
Think of
think?
something better. Think of something
What do
better.
you think the dessert is? How's that?
Desserts for a year.
Yeah, there you go. I like that. Joe Lopez, what's the rod and reel setup you're using to fish an island all day, where you might catch the triple Bs, have a shot at a big home guard yellow at any moment?
Nowadays,
I guess
with all
one
the small
rod,
gear,
huh?
Yeah, nowadays with the small gear, you can get into like a small little 2-speed if you wanted. Something like a call it a Saltiga 20 2-speed. Speedmaster 8 or a 10. Something like that. You can fish a small reel and have a whole lot of drag. So you have full spectra, and then you can just change your top shot on anything from like 15 to 20 pound test, and then if there's 30-pound yellows around, you throw some 40-pound on there, you got a good shot.
The over-under on more food arriving tonight is 1.
Yeah,
What do you
1.
bet? Yeah, will there be?
I don't think there's any. No.
You don't
What time
think
is
so?
it? 7:20.
Yeah.
Oh, you already got somebody? That'd be crazy. That'd be crazy.
What's your bet? Over or under?
Under.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll go.
More than one?
Yeah, so it'd have to be 2, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go over. I have faith in our people out there. Rein that food in here.
Bring it in, man.
Screw up Sam and my diet completely. We'll take it. All right, let's see. Joe Lopez. Oh, we already got Joe Lopez. Jan 6, 1, 2, 3. We need to manage the seal population.
Yeah.
That's never going to happen, though.
No,
Is it?
I don't think so.
I don't either. It's too much of a taboo with the general public.
Yeah.
Right? The only thing that could save us, I'm not wishing this upon the poor sea lions, but some kind of pandemic or, something that.
Like to their, I don't know.
I'm not wishing that on the poor
Yeah,
little
yeah.
sea
But
lions.
you're right, man. Those things get out of hand for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Also, what's a slot limit? Care to explain?
So a slot limit basically is, let's say you got a calico bass and you can't keep them, smaller than one size or bigger than one size.
Right.
So it might have to be like 10 to 14 inches. That
Right.
would be a slot limit.
Right.
Which a lot of people really kind of, talk about being a good idea for calico bass or something like that. Maybe, or sometimes you can keep, a certain amount over, let's say 12 inches, but the rest of them got to be 10 to 12 or something like that. Yeah.
So, Joel, if I have this right, I might screw this up, but in Florida, the redfish was in really, really
Right.
bad shape. And they suggested a slot limit. And all the guys that ran fishing operations said, no, this is the worst thing that could ever happen. They did the slot limit. And now the result has been giant redfish because you have to return the really big ones. And you keep, like Sam said, the kind of intermediate fish. And now every single one of those fishing operators say, oh, my God, thank God we had a slot limit. It
Management.
just changed that fishery dramatically.
Yeah.
And think about that if we did that with calico bass. Like every fish over 16 inches had to go back. God, we would have 8, 10-pound calicos crawling all over the place.
Yeah. And I think the calico bass is probably one of those species that maybe hasn't had the pressure, because all this tuna fishing and yellowtail fishing and sea bass fishing and halibut fishing. So I got to imagine that even that calico bass is going to come back real good, especially if we get this cold water, probably going to bring the kelp back. This warm water that we've had these last couple of years has kind of really killed off a lot of kelp. I think someone was mentioning that they went over there and fished. I think Eric Landesfein, I was listening to his report, he went over there and fished Point Vicente area there north of the closure, and he says it was just wiped out because of all the weather we had.
Yeah.
So thankfully that stuff grows fast, but up to now I think that's why we've had it be so weak.
Okay, very good. Isaac just sent us $10. Man,
Some dessert.
we're not allowed to touch it, are we?
It's gonna take forever here.
Do you want me to go down to the end and see if anybody guessed it?
see.
And then we'll come back because I can see that. Let's see. Apple pie, apple pie, apple pie, ice cream, eclairs, cheesecake.
No one guessed.
Are you going to have one anyway?
Yeah.
All right, we'll show everybody.
Well, JC,
JC,
thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
From the Royal Gourmet. Oh man, this is such good stuff.
I got to have one too.
man.
I'm screwed up on my.
Chewy.
Oh my God, JC.
Oh. Yeah,
There we go.
I can't.
No, you have
I
to. Come on.
I have this one for Luna. This is her favorite right here.
All right.
Thank you, buddy. Awesome. Oh my God.
So good, JC. Thanks. We appreciate it so very much. All right. Back to what we're doing.
we're
Isaac says, great show, guys. Love it. Especially with me drooling with a cookie coming out of my mouth. All right. Current jam. New to sport fishing in San Diego, private boat. Where's a good place to start looking for yellowtail white sea bass down in San Diego? Probably the islands or La Jolla, right? Or
Yeah. I mean, you got to have the permits to fish
Coronado
Coronado
Island.
Islands, but that's probably going to be your best for sure. Mm-hmm. I know sometimes they'll fish in that La Jolla Cal pretty good, and especially in the springtime. I haven't really heard of those boats doing that much of that here lately, but I gotta imagine if you do all your paperwork and get all that stuff worked out for the Coronados, you'd probably be getting them right now for sure.
Gary Webb. Say hi to Gary.
Hey, Gary.
Thank Gary for joining us. Where do you
Thanks,
think
Gary, for joining us.
Where do you think Gary is coming to us from?
Chicago.
Coming to us from the Gulf, the Alabama coast.
Oh,
He'll be commercial fishing Albacore out of Westport, Washington this season. Gary,
What
that
color
is
feather
so
you using?
cool. You have to check in with us and let us know how it's going. You might be fishing them down this way. We're hoping. Gary, thanks for joining us. That's really cool. Joe Valerio. Yeah, thanks, Sam. I bought those same exact hooks because they were the smallest hooks in the 4X strong I could find.
that's them.
Ken W. Sam, do you think mustads straighten out? Some love them, some don't. I've never had a problem. Excuse me. I'm choking to death.
So once again, it's really depending on what size line you're using. You know, all these hooks, they don't have it on the package. You know, they're not going to say on here, don't use more than 30-pound test or nothing like that. But yeah, I mean, Mustad does make a lighter wire. They actually make, gosh, they probably make like 5 different levels of thickness. So you really got to pick the one that's going to be, you know, matched up to the size line you're using, because the size line you're using determines how much drag you're using, and that drag is really determining how hard you're pulling on it. So,
Yeah.
you know, really kind of take that into account. And if you have any kind of question of that, you know, a lot of times I'll ask the guy, they'll say, well, I'm going to go fish San Diego and try to catch a 40-pound tuna. What hook do I need? Well, that doesn't tell me anything. I need to know what size line you're going to use, because that determines how hard you're going to pull. So
Yeah.
you got to take that into account.
All right. JC is with us
Thank you,
once
buddy.
again. JC, thank you so much. Scott Buchert, thank you so much. We super appreciate you guys. Joe Valerio thought it was going to be cheesecake. Blue Skies thought key lime cheesecake. Israel de la Cruz thought eclairs. JC is once again giving us a thumb up.
These are good.
Ice cream said Tim P. Joe said apple pie. Dan Smith said it's Seas candy. And here comes another question maybe. It's from California Saltwater Fishing, which is a YouTube channel. Hey, fellas, Paul Fanning here from California Saltwater Fishing. I keep hearing about those fluke baits for white sea bass. Do you think it's best to use a standard lead head or a bucktail with these? By the way, Chuck Zimmer did mention a few fish were caught on that trip. We talked about reverse dropper loop, and we talked about mostly the pink and orange lead heads, but also some on the swim baits.
Yeah, so the swim bait you want, the swim bait you were talking about, the fluke, the lead head you want to use is something that has a long shank hook, and the one that we've been having a lot of luck with here locally has been that get some head. Might as well show it here, right?
Yeah, heck yeah. Are you going to have another cookie?
Me?
Are you going to bring these to your
No,
kids?
no, you can have one. Don't feel guilty.
No, I'm
Go ahead, man. You don't need my permission to have a cookie.
no, I'm not having one unless you do.
That's what I thought.
I haven't had a cookie for 16,000 years.
Really?
honestly. Yeah, I don't eat carbs.
We almost, you know,
I mean, I'm all screwed
they
up.
mentioned all those different desserts.
Yeah.
We almost have them all in this box right
I
now.
know, right? There's so many different flavors. That is
Yeah.
so nice. Really appreciate it.
I gotta
JC's, do you know JC?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
you
yeah.
do?
He is super cool.
No, obviously,
Super
right?
cool, yeah. He's, if it's the same JC I'm thinking about.
Uh-oh, here's my food, Sam. We're going to be 500 pounds at the end of this show, you know that?
So it's the Get Some from Dolphin Tackle. Get Some that head there. So here's the unique thing about these guys is it's got a big giant 8-0 hook, and it's basically made to really more to accept the big squid. But if you see the little ribs right here,
Yeah.
those flukes aren't too big, and so it won't tear it. It also would keep a squid on real good here. And then these little wings that it has, as you're pulling it, pumping it through the current,
Yeah.
it will have a swimming action. So
I do like that 8-0 hook. I love a
this
big
is the
hook.
deal right here.
Yeah.
That's the guy.
All right, perfect. That looks awesome.
Yeah,
Okay, what? Are you going to have another one?
I'll wait for you.
Joe says apple pie, and he says it twice. Israel de la Cruz. Most reels on Facebook market drop just like the value of a car when it leaves the dealer. You put a decent price, but they always want it lower.
I think he was talking about the guy that was about the trade-in thing.
Yeah.
That's the hassle sometimes.
Joe says, great show as always. Diets are like laws. They're made to be broken.
Back it up.
Do you agree? Agree with that? Want to bring it back a little further?
We're
Are
losing,
we good?
We're losing the...
Oh, yeah, shoot. Hold it. Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay, much
what we
better.
need to be asking
I'm
for,
out of
yeah.
it. Huh?
Need a table.
Yeah. Can somebody send a table down here?
yeah.
Forget the food. All right. Great show as always. Okay. Sal Garcia. Great show, guys. Loving all the information. I heard a lot about Aki twist hooks being used to catch sea bass. How do they work, and how do you rig your squid on them? Aki twists are the go-to hook. a lot of
Yeah,
times
and that's
lately.
actually the hook I pulled out here when Chuck was talking.
Perfect.
About
Good
reverse
move,
top loop.
Sam.
But it's an owner hook. This is actually one of the kind of smaller ones here. It's a 5-0. They make them all the way down to a 1-0, which a lot of guys like using for rock cod fishing. But they make them all the way up to an 8-0, which is about a hook this size here. And it's a hook that is an offset hook. If you guys can kind of see that there. And the whole idea between, for an offset hook, the reason you would want to use it is that it has, the point of the hook is more exposed.
Yeah.
And so when you go to, when the fish goes to bite it, there's a pretty good chance that that point of the hook is already going to be touching some kind of flesh. So when you go to set the hook, it's already there kind of thing, So you better hook set, especially with that sea bass, they're known for having soft mouths. You're going to be able to grab a little more meat with that guy there.
All right. So
Aki twist.
you're a fan?
Yeah. We saw tons of them. The guys that do it, private boater guys that do a lot of that sea bass fishing pretty much exclusively use this Aki twist hook. And mostly from 6-0 to 8-0, if they're using like a, let's say an X sinker and one of these hooks, that's kind of what they're using.
Excellent. Thanks for joining us, everybody. We're here at Island Fishing Tackle in Carson, California. Sam and I usually do this show on Wednesday. Sam's going to be doing Little League tomorrow, so we did the show tonight. I'm so happy we did. 120 people watching right now. Sam, how do we get in touch with you here? What's the address?
Yeah, so we're at 21809 Avalon Boulevard. We're in the city of Carson. We're right off the 405 freeway in Avalon. Phone number here is 707-1205. That's a 310 area code. 707-1205. We're open from Monday through Saturday, 10 to 6.
Joe Lopez thought it was going to be Krispy Kremes, and Joe Valerio said churros. Current Jam, New York has slot limits for stripers, and it is not uncommon to catch a 40-plus pound striper. Yeah, that
cool.
really works. Do you realize we're down to the end of our comments? We could.
Well, they want to see the cookie.
We could almost end this. Are you going to have another one?
Go for it.
No, I'm asking
Go
you.
ahead.
Are those oatmeal ones down there?
I'm sure they're not.
Yeah. Why?
I don't know.
These? Oh yeah, those are oatmeal.
Oh, yeah.
I
You
love
want an
oatmeal.
oatmeal?
Are you gonna have one?
Go ahead.
No, only if
Oh
you
my
have.
gosh, this is so silly.
Come on, I'm not having one unless you have
Why
one.
not?
I don't care what you have.
Go
Just
ahead. I'll have one later.
no, you won't. I'm not doing it. I love oatmeal cookies.
Have them both at the same
No,
time.
no, stop it. I'll make a sandwich out of it, right? All right.
Taco meat in front of it.
Screwing me up here tonight. What am I saying? JC, thank you. We really appreciate it. All right. JC hooked it up, says Tim P. Jonathan Jones, I have some nice pulls with missing guides. Do you do rod repairs? This is one of the best SoCal fishing shows available. Please keep it up. Jonathan,
Do
I
our
couldn't
best.
agree more with
Do
you.
our best.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Jonathan. Do you do that?
Yeah, we do it all the time. You know, we ask you to be able to leave the rod here for you know, a couple days, sometimes a couple weeks, depending on how many guys are ahead of you. And we'll let you know ahead of time. We're not going to tell you it's done tomorrow and then not give it to you. But you know, sometimes it does take a while to make sure we get the right thread or the right guides, or even just to get up in the queue. You know, we might have 10 or 12 guys ahead of you to get rods fixed. But get it in as soon as you can. Make sure you get it in for the season. Is it all right? You want the whole thing, huh?
No. Dan Smith says, chumming with cookies. Got him,
Yes, you're right,
JC.
got him.
We're coming to the corner, right?
Yeah.
Those are good, man. Keep your fingers off those oatmeal cookies. Joe Lopez. Best way to catch a yellow at Catalina. Feels like those fish over there are a lot more pickier than other islands that don't get so much pressure.
Of course, yeah, because it's easier to get to, so you have a lot more pressure on them for sure. You know, right this time of year is probably the best time because it's going to be kind of like almost preseason. You know, really isn't a lot of guys going quite yet. But I'm pretty sure the one they got on the Pursuit, though, that big one they got was probably on squid. And so this time of year, if you can get some live squid, that's going to be your best way. Probably any time of year, really, almost.
Right.
Like candy bait.
Oh, the nice yellow.
It's nice,
Hopefully
yeah.
that's kicking
Yeah.
kicking off their bite. All right, Arlen Doherty. I love the original hex heads.
Yeah.
Remember
yeah,
the
yeah,
hex heads?
Patrolling, yep. I don't know if we can get those anymore, really, but I'm
Do
pretty
you
sure
have any
somebody-
around here? No.
I got some somewhere. No, know where I'm going to find them that easy, though.
All right, Doug Rubin says the San Diego today?
Albacore.
No. Oatmeal cookies?
Really?
No. 50 bluefin tuna.
Woo-wee,
On a
3/4
full day trip,
Oh
yeah.
my gosh, man.
On a yesterday I think he just had a handful yesterday. Maybe
50.
9 or something like that.
Gosh.
50 bluefin on a trip that leaves in the morning and comes back that
Yeah.
same day.
Kind of reminds me, I don't know if I was talking to you about it or somebody, but, when I was first coming up and I was kind of just after this, this era there at Redondo, where guys used to talk about that they used to go catch bluefin,
Yep.
on the 3/4 day boat,
That would be me.
and it was a huge deal,
Yeah.
to be able to have that opportunity. And to me, it always seemed like far fetched. I mean, back then we didn't catch anything close to that. You need any yellowtail on a half day boat, and these guys are talking about catching tuna, and it makes me think. Those days when they caught the albacore. You talk about those black and white videos where they would go catch albacore on the half day boat, or that some of that footage, from Michael Folks where they'd catch bluefin and then they'd go fish rockfish on a 3/4 day all day boat or something
Right.
like that. And you just think, man, that's crazy. And here they go, every single year, the San Diego gets them.
Yeah.
Full speed on that tuna, and not only light line 12-pound test with a nice 10 hook and all that kind of stuff. I mean, guys are catching them on 100-pound.
Yeah.
So I don't think anything like that happened back in the day.
No, I mean, you were fishing like a lot of time. There was
Yeah.
a few bites where they bit the heavy, but most time you had to drop down to 12 pound
Yeah.
with a number 8 hook.
Yeah, tiny. And you're
Yeah.
talking about the old 8 hook,
Right.
It's tiny. So to have it now where you can catch them on a hook like what we're talking about, 3040, heavy gauge, 40-pound test, 60-pound test. I mean, it's incredible what we have going on.
It is, because when that bluefin bite was going on in the bay, I looked at it even as a young man and I said, I'm glad I'm a part of this because
Yeah.
this ain't ever going to happen
Right.
again. It's better now.
Way better.
Way better.
Yeah.
It- It's like, how did that happen?
Right, right.
And it's management and it's all of this stuff,
Yeah, yeah.
And it's that. So we got rid of the gill nets. You saw the seabass come back. We got rid of the seiners. The bluefin came back. There is a correlation
Yeah.
between that
Commercial
heavy
pressure, yeah.
commercial pressure and a species flourishing or not flourishing.
And not to say that someone doesn't have the right to go make a living.
Right.
You
I'm
know,
not against
'cause-
commercial guys.
'cause, yeah, 'cause
I love
someone-
those guys. I did that.
Because there's restaurants that have to be able to serve food, but
Yeah.
it's management.
Right.
Quotas, and there's just ways to do it to where everybody's and the resource is strong.
I'm glad you pointed that out because we don't want to demonize our
No,
brothers
no,
and
it's
sisters
not
who are
about that,
commercial
yeah.
fishermen. I mean, because the minute you really, there's got to be that fine line, or you're going to be paying $600 for a fish dinner.
Well, not only that, I mean, those guys, just like us, are stewards of the sea. They don't want to deplete the resource, So, and I would imagine most of the times that those guys that go out and do that as a living, they're doing it within whatever the laws are, and can make a living doing that. So, I think there's room for everybody.
You ought to try those oatmeal cookies, man.
There's
Oh,
only one left.
I know. Don't keep your fingers off that. I'll eat that one when we're not on camera. People are going to start making fun of me. Yeah. So okay, Isaac says.
Oatmeal.
Thanks, Doug, for that update, my friend. What's the smallest reel for the bigger bluefin? A 16 or 20?
16 international, I think would be the smallest. I think it still holds about 500 yards of 100, and you should be pretty good. You're not using the kite, you're not trolling, something like that. You'd be fine.
All right. Current Jam says, I think I missed the answer. What type of structure do you look for when targeting yellowtail and white sea bass?
Well, it varies. It's usually
It
more
does.
bait related, and current direction, that type of thing. Sometimes some parts of the island are going to bite better on an uphill current or a downhill current or an east to west current, that type of thing. So it's kind of real complicated. I wouldn't say that you just kind of look for these two things and you're going to catch fish. Definitely going to be sometimes rocky structure. Sometimes it's going to be, kelp areas.
Yellow's mostly on the rocky, and sea bass seem to be
Yeah.
kind of in the sand. So, they're swanning in that short water. And
bait too. Yellows
Yeah.
are a little bit more prone to chasing bait around, things like that.
squid nests, you're
Yeah.
going to find sea bass and halibut and all that. Yeah.
So I wish I had a better answer for you, but it's actually pretty dang complicated.
I already read Joel's comment or question, and it's funny because I was just going to say to you, you remember I said, hey, we're almost out of questions.
Yeah,
we
yeah.
go home early.
Right,
the minute
right.
I said that, 500 questions came in. And so Joel says, any heartbreak stories, fishing-wise, LOL? I'm pumping the questions in. I don't want the show to end. All right, Joel, any heartbreak story for you? I'd have to. Yeah, go ahead.
There was one time we were fishing down the ridge, fishing grouper, and we're trying real hard, man. Putting down the skipjack, and you get bit and it comes off, get bit, it comes off. Finally put it down, get bit, and I got him. And I'm welling on this thing. I'm pulling as hard as I could, coming up, get down to him. I'm not even looking over the side. I'm just concentrating on putting pressure on this thing, because I don't want it to go back into the rocks. And it's coming up, and then the crew member says, "Ah!" And I'm thinking, "What the heck?" I still feel him on there.
Yeah.
And it was a giant shark.
Oh, man.
Exactly. Yeah, he's like, "Oh man, I wanted you to get that
Yeah,
so bad.
yeah.
You wanted me to get a big grouper." I'm like, "Well, that's the breaks,
So we had a little private boat, a Parker, and we went out to Rocky Point. We anchored. It was my two kids and a guy named Josh Selfridge. And we're fishing, and actually, the light switch went on. We were catching calico bass, giant calicos. And so Philip takes a squid, and literally, like, it's dangling in the water, maybe 3 or 4 feet below the water surface. And we're just, I don't even know if he was, like, serious about it. He was just kind of like this, and all of a sudden, this freaking 40-pound sea bass comes up in slow motion, opens its mouth, and swallows the bait and goes down, and he's like, whoa! So he's on this giant fish. It gets wrapped in the kelp. We're on this thing for a half hour, and I'm like, this is so cool, man. I can't wait to eat this thing. This is bitching, and we'll go back in and show off and blah, blah, blah. It's tangled in the kelp. So Josh, if you're watching, I'm not picking on you. Everybody, Josh is like cutting away, and guess what he cut? Not the kelp.
Oh man.
Yeah, so he felt terrible.
Yeah.
And Philip didn't say he didn't want Josh to get friended. He didn't want him to feel bad, but that was a heartbreak because it was so weird, Sam. It was slow motion. It comes up and it was going so slow and its mouth opened so wide, so slowly. It's like we couldn't even process it. Yeah, it's like what? Yeah, and then it ate it and then swam down into the kelp. So there you go, Joel. You're keeping us on the air a little bit longer here. All right. Let's see. Where am I?
Heartbreak.
Oh, yeah. We're down here a little bit further. Heartbreaks. Okay. What connection do you recommend for braid to fluoro? Janix 123.
Yeah. You know, Albright knot, Tony Pena, and I know a lot of guys are starting to use that FD knot, especially with the jigging stuff. What's the next one?
I'm sorry. Yes, that was an excellent answer,
Oatmeal,
by the way.
oatmeal.
Yeah, I'm just like, I was thinking about something else there. Jeff Duke says, thanks for the best show on the planet, the Friedman Adventures show with Sam.
There you go.
You know, you get out of the tackle business, you and I might just go on the road and do shows from now on. Who knows? Thank you, Jeff. We really,
Montana.
yeah, we appreciate it. Current Jam, do you put backing on your reel when spooling hollow core, or do you use a special knot? I'm going to listen to your answer this time so I can go to the next question instead of like.
Yeah, pretty much put backing on my. I'm not sure what he's exactly asking here. Did you miss something here? Back
No.
on the row and spooling hollow core. No,
No, I didn't miss anything.
I pretty much
Missed
use,
that oatmeal cookie.
Yeah, I pretty much put hollow all the way down, if I can. But there's times when I'll put backing. I think what he's talking about is putting solid spectra down and then putting hollow on top of that. A lot of guys do that, depending on the size hollow that you're using, the brand, and all that kind of stuff. Some of it can be kind of expensive compared to solid. And so if that's the case in that specific situation, I might do that. I might put, like, let's say 500 yards of solid and then maybe like 100 yards of hollow.
Yeah.
And then do my connections that way. So it really kind of does depend. But sometimes I do that.
All right, perfect. You know what happens to me when I eat carbs like this? When I eat too many
Go to
carbs?
sleep.
No, I freaking get these horrible cramps. Like at night, I'll get horrible, but I'm starting to get one like right now. And I'm like feeling like I'm going to have to jump up and run around a little bit. Yeah, I don't know why. Because I don't eat carbs anymore. And the minute I like start this,
Get you.
I get screwed with this. And I feel one coming on, man. So if I jump up
There's
and
no carbs right here.
no, it can't be that then.
No.
If I jump up and start dancing around, you'll know what it is, everybody. Israel La Cruz, we better get information here. We get better information here than we get at the landing. There's been a couple of times I got to the landing before a trip and asked for their recommendation, and they tell us, and we buy them. So they're happy with the recommendations we're getting
You're
here.
welcome, man.
Well,
That's pretty much what we're doing.
yeah, well, this is a great team here because I spend a lot of time trying to get the information from the guys. Sam has all the expertise on how to do everything, and it makes a good team, you and I think, right?
Well, see, you haven't noticed too much here, but what I do is I wait for him to talk, and then I repeat what he says, and it makes me sound pretty good. So,
Oh,
Yeah.
I repeat what you say. It makes
it's the
me
other way
sound.
around.
No.
I got you figured out, man.
Great team. Good to be working with you. Greg Wilson. Yes, Willison. Hey, guys, I can tell you're good friends because you sound like Big Brother and Little Brother love the show. I must be the Big Brother,
Yeah,
right? Yeah. And people tell me I'm more Mexican
really be big.
than Mexican, so I fit right in, right?
Could be it.
Do you have Our Lady of Guadalupe in your wallet?
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't.
Do you know I do? Or
I-
have I showed you that before?
No.
Okay.
Wait a minute.
Oh, yeah. Hold on, everybody. How do I open the?
Oh,
Now that's
cool.
Mexican, right?
You're right there.
There you are. I got her with me all the time. All right. So, yeah, Big Brother, Little Brother. Daniel wants to know if the Apollo trip is still open for May 31st. Yeah, we still have a few spots on there, Daniel.
Got to jump on that one.
657-227-6459. That should be a great one, right? Turbo says 102 viewers right now. Smash that like button.
That's pretty awesome.
107 viewers right now. We've been up over 100 all night. Really excellent. And you know, after these shows marinate for a little while, there are well over 1,000 people that
That's so crazy.
watch. So it's fantastic, and we owe that all to you wonderful people. Please hit that like button. That helps us with the algorithm, and Sam and I will stay on an extra 30 seconds tonight if you all do that. Sam, what's the best split ring pliers? Working with BKK number 9 and number 10 split rings. Well, it's got to be my friend from the UK.
Warren Detroit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Warren, don't forget that.
We got to have
Okay.
that guy. I don't know what time it is. It might be 2 o'clock in the morning over there.
In England?
I don't know.
Yeah, I
What time is it?
forget. I don't know. I'm all screwed up on that. I have a friend over there. He's in Liverpool, and I'm always screwed up with what time it is.
Probably eating
Because I'm trying to talk to people in China once in a while. And
So these are the 2 guys here that I use. The one being the one we've shown on the show a few times. It's the Shimano larger split ring plier, but This is the guy that we were just mentioning here. This is the toy split ring plier, and these come in 3 different sizes. It's a small, medium, large. I would imagine with the size split ring that he's talking about, you probably go with the large. But both these tools are really good. This one's a little more compact, so if you need something to fit in a small space and you already got a pretty full tackle box, this one here has a cutter on it. So if you're doing some other kinds of rigging, that might be of help too. So, but they're both really, really good.
All right, excellent stuff. DJB, can we all agree to stop discussing using torpedo weights as the hot jig rig? I really don't want to spend $20 for the latest hot BFT jig.
All right. No, I mean, we're gonna discuss whatever the questions are, but you're right. I think part of it is just a matter of, like I was saying earlier, guys already got these jigs. They just don't want to use them. So, but you got to be open to everything, I think.
Gary Webb says, I remember catching bluefin tuna at the Redondo Canyon when I worked for Glenn on the Redondo Special. Gary, you and I must have bumped into each other because I worked for Glenn on the Redondo Special too. Glenn Mueller. Lori Mueller is Jeff Jessup's girlfriend. So her family and Glenn has been in the industry for a long time. But
Redondo
yeah, we
royalty.
talked about that, man. That was so cool when you used to catch bluefin there, but
That's
now
so
it's
crazy.
even better.
That's crazy.
I
thought like last year, was it last year or 2 years ago when that stuff started making its way up the line? I almost thought for sure it was going to come into the canyon again.
Yeah, I did too.
Man, I was so hoping it was going to.
It's one of these days. It's
Yeah.
going to, no question about it. Jolene Thompson, who is a wonderful person, a great lady angler. I was just watching you, Jolene, on the Relentless in those furious battles you had last year with us. That was fantastic. I hope you are doing well. Jolene says, when you get into a tangle in a bluefin bite and the deckhand has to cut your spectra, what's the strongest knot to tie?
Double uni. Double uni is probably what I've seen the most work. So that's probably what I would tie.
Okay, double uni it is. Gary Webb, lots of competition with the boys on the city. Yeah, there was a rivalry
That was a whole deal there,
between
yeah.
the special and the city. It was
Yeah.
pretty funny.
Yeah.
The city always felt like they were a little bit better
Yeah.
because it
Well,
was
nice
kind of a
boat.
better boat.
Yeah,
Yeah,
bigger
the
boat,
special.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, those guys on the special, man, we worked hard too. And every once in a while we beat those guys. When Dipley was running the special and we were tanked with squid 24 hours a day, man, I mean,
Can't beat squid.
those days, I mean, you would like get in at 6 o'clock at night, dump your passengers off, and then Dipley would go, we're going to Catalina. Then you go to Catalina,
Big bait.
make bait, and
Yeah.
then you're back at 6 to pick your passengers up.
Yeah.
And that kind of repetition would go on and on and on. And Barney, I've mentioned him a few times, he would tell Dipley, quit going to Catalina, man. You're putting too many hours on the boat and everything. And so he'd come down in the morning and he goes, I see it, evidence. And he'd see squid ink, evidence all over the boat. He'd be screaming at Dipley. So those were funny times, Gary, no question about it. Turbo T2 with a $5 bill for us.
Yeah, buddy.
Thank you so very much. We deeply appreciate it. Current Jam. I've seen others use a special knot that they swear doesn't slip, and they don't need to use backing. Was just wondering if it was a common thing.
It doesn't slip.
Yes. You don't believe my reading?
Doesn't slip, and they don't need to use backing. I don't know if he's talking specifically about maybe tying onto a spool, but we use tape on the bottom of the spool to make sure that the line can grab onto it. But you probably have to like specify where he's using that knot to. But I'm pretty sure there's got to be some knot out there that doesn't slip.
Okay. Very good.
Somebody must have found it by now.
Yeah. Where are we?
Okay.
What did you do?
Well,
I think we're down here. Yeah, we're here. Oh, no.
Show.
Where are we?
No, you skipped. That's what it was.
Oh, okay.
Special knot, but then this guy here about the
That was the same thing
Secret guy.
we've heard. All right. Okay.
cue ball.
Cue ball, LOL. Cheese. Jamie Castro. Awesome show, guys. Jamie.
all right.
Thank you so much.
Jaime.
Jaime, perdón. Ken W., what's the best trolley lure for local marlin? Are you a marlin guy?
I'm not. But I would imagine one of those.
Big clones, like?
Yeah, one of those big zookers. One of those 5.5 or something like that. I forget the number.
We'll have
but-
to get Mike Hurt, the beak, and ask him,
Yeah.
one of the marlin boys. You know who's a good marlin fisherman? Old Tom Brewer. He's won that Catalina Marlin tournament a couple of times. He's a really good marlin fisherman.
There's an art to that for sure.
I'll have to talk to Tom. I'll ask him, and we'll have that for you next time. Rocket Dog, great show, guys. Have a great night. Current Jam, hands down, the best show out there. Man, we're getting a lot of this, and my head is just like going like that, and so is my stomach, unfortunately, with all this stuff we're eating here. Best show. Thank you so much. We really appreciate you both. Jaime Castro, awesome show, guys. Can you guys elaborate a little on blueprinting the Talica 25? Advantages and disadvantages for Jaime, please.
Yeah, so I think what he's talking about is what Cal Sheets, does, Eric Sheets. I couldn't give you the exact science of how they do it, what they do, but basically what they do is to my knowledge, is that they take the drag pieces and some of the other pieces, and they'll measure them and they'll bring them to an exact tolerance to where the reel just feels better. That torque that I just had up here, I actually had it blueprinted, and I kind of just wanted to see how much better it felt, and it does feel better.
Yeah.
I couldn't give you an exact number of it giving you more drag or more free spool. Not really. That's not really what I'm looking for, but it does feel better. So, I couldn't give you an exact science. You might want to go back to the video that you did with Eric Sheets, and I think he went into a little bit of detail.
Did I do a video with Eric
Yeah,
Sheets?
he did it at the studio, didn't you?
I can't remember.
I think so.
I'm at like 1,100 now, so maybe, yeah. Maybe somebody else did it, huh? Was it Dan Hernandez, maybe?
Could have been.
I don't know.
They kind of look alike.
Now you're getting nasty. Cue ball, L busted.
L busted.
Yeah.
No, because of the cookies.
Yes.
I
Daniel, I've been there and done that. It was great times.
Yeah, me too, man. It was
Oh
awesome.
my God, I loved it. Could you believe when that happened?
That was awesome. I couldn't believe it. As soon as I showed up, it started happening.
I know, but you didn't tell your wife,
I
did
know,
you?
no.
No, you can't.
Well, I don't even know if it really happened.
I don't even know what we're talking
Yeah.
about. Okay, great. Cue ball, slow troll, a live mackerel.
That's probably.
Oh, for marlin?
For marlin, yeah.
Yeah. A lot of those guys will salmon then cast them off the bow.
Yeah.
Throw a mackerel
Drop
right
back.
on their nose or drop back. Get them fired up on the jigs and then drop a mackerel back there and you're on. Okay, Joe says Sam is a 9-0 or 10-0 Jobo hook.
Jobu?
Jobu hook to bud for a bottom hook
No.
on a 400 to 500 gram rip roller jig. What size or setup would you use?
Either one. We used to do that a lot more with those big knife jigs. We'd put a big giant J hook on the bottom. That Jobu was kind of one of the favorites because it was kind of known for being like super strong, super tough hook. But no, it's not too big. It is going to look big, to be quite honest with you. But once we start getting into that big tuna, you got to remember that 200-pound tuna can probably eat a 40-pound tuna. So a hook this big is really not that big. So I wouldn't worry about it. Probably the biggest concern you'd have is storing the thing because it's a big giant hook. But other than that, no, I'd say you'd be just fine.
All right, perfect. DJB, a $20 bill.
Man,
Man, Tackle Shop Confessions is my new must-see FA podcast.
There you go, buddy.
Loving it, man. Because of you.
Nah, because you.
Nah, I
'Cause of
love
cookies,
working
'cause
with
of
you.
cookies.
Oh, my God. Are you going to eat another one?
Nah.
Come on. What's wrong with you?
That's all I wanted to do.
Oh, you rat. All right, Cue Ball says no. Cue Ball says yes. Killing me. Hey, we're down to our last comment. If we get no more comments, we're going to end the show.
And I
Watch,
got
we're gonna
one
get
little
10,000.
surprise, too.
You do?
Yeah, wait.
This is so sudden. You know I'm married, right? Okay. Uh-oh, more are coming in. Ken W. Guys used to bounce balls. Yeah. He said bounces balls. Guys used to bounce balls for halibut.
Yeah.
Is anybody still bouncing their balls for the halibut?
I'm sure it happens all the time.
Yeah?
Yeah.
No, really?
No, I'm sure. Basically, it's that reverse dropper loop rig,
Yeah.
a little bit more rigging and things like that, flashers and things like that. But guys still do it. You know who?
Flashers, bouncing their balls. Boy, you're hitting all the double entendres tonight.
The commercial guys do that. Rod and reel commercial guys do that.
Yeah, right. Yeah, in the harbor they do
Inside
it.
the
They
harbor,
catch
yeah.
a lot of fish. All right, Daniel Lightfoot. Oh, hey, I know Dan Lightfoot. He's a great guy. Great show, guys. Got the last P. Oh, got the last part of it. Get the rest before I go to school tomorrow. Oh yeah, that's my friend Michael Limon. Great kid. Comes down and fishes all the time. His grandpa's Dan Lightfoot. Really a couple of fantastic guys. What are we doing tonight now? We're videotaping what?
Oh yeah, doing the.
Are we actually
Well,
doing
in a
that?
jig.
I'm
Yeah,
not going to just like run out the back door and go home.
Well, I
no,
guess
we're
we
going to
won't
do
film
it.
Yeah.
We have to do it. All right. I don't see another question on
right.
here, Sam.
So this is what I wanted to do here. At the end of the show, I was thinking we got to do something to get.
Spectacular.
I don't know about spectacular, but I think it's kind of cool. So what I wanted to do is, and I was talking to the guys here at the shop, and I really haven't worked it out. Maybe the guys on the show can give us some pointers on how to do this, but I wanted to do something where the guys that are watching at the end of the show, I guess they could watch it and repeat tomorrow or the next day, but it has to be for this week through the end of the week. So what day is today? Today's the 25th.
Yeah.
The end of the week is going to be Saturday the 29th. So from tomorrow, starting Wednesday, till the 29th on Saturday,
We got some kind of a game or a contest?
I'll do a deal. Anybody who comes into the shop and mentions cookies, we'll give them a special deal on knife jigs. So we're just getting into the Bluefin here.
That's a great idea.
So you're going to do buy two, get one free, or buy three, get two free.
Whoa.
So if you're looking to load up on this stuff here, early season before it starts to run out, come in and you got to say the word, the magic word, the discount code, I guess, is going to be cookies.
Can we make it oatmeal cookies?
No, just cookies.
Oh, really?
Okay, oatmeal cookies.
Thank you.
But if you just say cookies, I'll still give it to you.
No, you won't. It's got to be oatmeal cookies.
But yeah, come on down and we'll give you that special deal from now till Saturday.
That's a great idea.
You come on Monday and say, "Oh man, can you give it to me?" No, we're
Okay.
not going to give it to you Monday. But the next time we do a show, we'll have some other special.
Sounds like you're going to be very stern about this.
Well, it can't be a deal if you just give it any time.
That's right.
You know, and it's not really a special deal. So,
Oatmeal cookies.
Yeah.
Or cookies.
or cookies.
All right. Hey, that's great. I like it. What do you guys think? I think that's fantastic. Are we doing that every week?
We'll see how this week goes, and if you guys have some suggestions, put it down in the comments. You know, maybe some way we can do this. You know, I don't really have like an online store where you can do it online. That would be the best way if I had something like that going on, but I don't. But come into the shop and we'll give you the deal.
All right. Well, you screwed up because now we got another 6 comments.
No.
Oh, yeah, we do. All right. Mike Meredith, what's your take on white sea bass eating colored lead heads? And what paint to use if coloring ourselves? What's your theory on why they're eating orange and red? I have done well with white or glow. I don't know. I mean,
I don't know.
Chuck Zimmer said, man, it was, what did I say, orange or pink?
Orange or pink?
Yeah, orange or pink on this. The last trip, the Pride just got in 25 halibut, limits of white sea bass. Chuck was fishing a lead head, just a regular plain lead head. Couldn't get a bite. And Captain Sean Roberts came over, cut it off, put an orange one on, dropped it over, and he was bit.
Instant.
Coincidence? I don't know. Because as he looked around, the fish are all being caught on those 2 colors.
I can't hardly keep those things in stock. Honestly, you know that orange. It's called the Blaze Orange. It's I don't know what it is about it. I don't know why. I mean, sometimes it just doesn't really matter. You know, if they're biting it, you got to use it.
Orange, you know, there used to be an albacore feather like called the carrot, I think it was. and it was orange.
yeah,
Remember that?
yeah.
That was really popular.
Maybe contrast. I don't know. Could be contrast. Who knows? I mean,
But you know what? Are there any jigs that are orange? I don't
No,
think so,
you know,
right? We need to make an orange jig. man.
Taddy, and even Salas, and even JRI, I think they make what they call a red crab jig. You know, quote unquote red crab jig, and it'll be kind of like red and orange. You know, I know for a couple of years that was kind of a hot jig. So it's kind of there is some other orange out there. I know in some of the plastics, the ones that have an orange belly,
Yeah.
those work real good. And some of the Lucky Crafts, they have that pink belly. You know, those cherry berries that they call.
Yeah.
Those are super hot. So there is something to that pink or orange. You know, I don't know the science behind it. I just know that the guys who do it, they catch fish.
Yeah, Mike, it's been working really, really well here recently, at least at the local islands. I won't say what island. A lot of you already know, but I don't want Sean Roberts to
Guadalupe.
come in the studio with a fillet knife looking for me. So, all right, Turbo T2. Do you do out-of-state orders? Will you ship?
Yeah, we do. We do. I mean, the only thing that's kind of tough is going to be on fishing rods. In fact, just today I was trying to ship out some rods for some customers. It turns out it's not as easy as it once was before. So as long as it's not a fishing rod, I think we can do it.
All right, perfect. Isaac says, love that idea. Thank you. Raul Almaraz. Phil, Sam, great show. I purchased a Turn 2 600N at the post show and was wondering if I can trade it for something different.
Yeah, as long as there hasn't been any line put on it or something like that. no visual wear marks. Basically, as long as I can sell it to somebody else as brand new, definitely can trade it in. As long as you bought it from us at the show. If you didn't, we'll have to kind of see, what we can do for you. But come on down and we'll talk about it.
Current Jam says, that's great, Sam. And he also says, maybe there's a viewer out there that could help you with your website. Cue ball. Squid change colors. They get all rainbow in the light.
Could be. I was kind of thinking about that too. Maybe I have to do something with that, especially with squid. Because they're like that chameleon type, trait to them that they color change. But irregardless of why or what, it just works.
Yeah. You look at a lobster and their eggs are orange, right?
Yeah.
And
There's other kind of orange things down there that they eat.
Yeah. So who knows what it is, but yeah, it seems to work. That is true. Blue skies, squid with eggs have an orange belly.
There you go.
Joe Valerio, Dave Hansen said on his live show last year that orange resembles a pregnant squid with an orange egg sac.
All right. I guess we're getting the answer right there.
Yeah. Did you know that?
No, but I figured it had to be something like that. But I just know it works.
Yeah. All right. I think we're done, Sam.
All righty.
Yeah. Is that good?
You got to have one more cookie.
No, not me. Only if you do. What other kinds are in it, actually? We're going to stall for time. There's going to be more
That looks
questions.
like a sugar-free.
Peanut butter, right?
Sugar-free.
I don't like that. Yeah, right.
I'll have
This
that
is
one.
Luna.
Since you're scared of this one here. I'll have this
So you're just catching up to me now. There. We're even now.
one. Oh, it's so good.
All right. Uh-oh. We screwed up again. D. Gomez, has anyone tried the Mac Stick Speed Runner as a Mad Mac alternative?
Nobody has.
No, yes, they have. Are they any good? Do you
I
know?
don't know. I'm not sure what that is, actually. Oh, I think, no.
D. Gomez, you stumped him. Here we go, man.
man.
500 more. All right. Israel de la Cruz. Sam, are you a big fan of plastic swim baits like Big Hammers or Viejos o Reyes?
All real good stuff. Real good stuff, yeah.
That's all you got to say?
Well, so those baits are kind of more of a mainstay. I know that Viejo from MC, super popular, super well-made jig. A little tougher on the plastics. A lot of the guys that go down to Cedros like that a lot because it holds up a lot better. So, yeah, those are all really good.
Current Jam says, good night, guys. D. Gomez says, any other high-speed lures for bluefin other than the Mad Max? Mad Max the go-to?
Well, okay. So anything that you can keep in the water at, let's say, over 10 knots will probably get bit. That Yozuri Bonita, a lot of guys caught fish on that. When we ran out as an industry, when we ran out of the Mad Max, it wasn't like guys stopped fishing. They put that Yozuri Bonita out and caught fish on it. So, yeah, anything that you can keep in the water at over 10 knots, I think you'd be good.
All right, perfect. Is it Fanaticid? What is that?
It is.
Fanaticid. He says, good night.
Good night.
Good night, my friend. Let's see. Daniel says, let me know about the Apollo trip. Give me a call and feel free. I'm down to go. I'll do that. If I had your phone number, Daniel, I would do that. But I don't have your phone number. So 657-227-6459. Send me a text, my friend. We'll get you on board. Turbo 2T says, great show. Thank you. D. Gomez, Savage Gear makes them.
Oh, the Savage one. Yeah, I've heard of it, but not to my knowledge that guys have used it.
Nolan Oshiro, eventually the great whites will discover the overabundance of sea lions.
Maybe.
Perhaps, right?
Maybe.
D. Gomez says, thanks for the answer. D. Gomez, you're number one. Thanks for being with us. Sam, I'm going to let you say something. I don't know. What do you want to say? Something about the cookies. Buchert.
One quick kind of like little comment as we're going away here is don't forget about the CCA barbecue. I just was informed today that our good friend Phil Friedman is going to be the MC, so that's going to make
What?
It's going to be the kicker.
Who said that?
You did.
You just told me.
Yeah, you said yeah.
Okay.
So he's going to do it. He's going to be down there at the barbecue. It's going to make it that much fun. We should just do a live show.
Can
from
we
there.
do that?
I'm pretty sure we could.
Do they have Wi-Fi?
We'll get some.
Yeah.
I don't know, where do you buy Wi-Fi?
We're doing it. You and I are doing a show.
So, best we can do is go down there. So, if you guys want to go down there, have a good time, look on our social media. We're going to be posting up flyers for it. Come and participate. It's an important thing. We talked about management, all that kind of stuff. earlier in the show, I think it's really important that you guys go down. Those are the guys who are really at the forefront of making that management happen.
All right, what is the magic word for the week, and what's the deal?
Cookie or oatmeal cookie.
Thank you.
And you're going to get buy two, get one free on the jigs. These are going to be tuna, knife jigs. So any of that SK jig, the rip roller, all the stuff that's been super hot. Anything on that wall, when you come in here, we'll direct you that way. Or if you're looking to load up, we'll do buy three, get two free. So you can really load up, especially, you guys all know that halfway through the season, if your trip's going to be later in the year, this stuff will be sold out. So come in and load up.
All right, Turbo T2 says oatmeal cookies.
Oatmeal
He's on my
cookies.
side. I like it. Sam, thanks for another great show. Thanks for allowing us to be here at Island Fishing Tackle.
Awesome. It's fun time.
And thanks to all the people who make this show so great. That's all of you. Thanks for joining us again, everybody.
Good night.
Take care, everybody.